The Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? It's Friday, August 27th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Shout out to Harry, PJ's friend. Happy birthday, Harry. Hope you're enjoying the show. And let's see who we've got in chat. Level Seeker, Pete Shea, Ian Adams, Cleary, Gadget Inspector, Bill G, Page 42, Brandon Cook, Logan's Run, WTP, PJ Cruikshank, and Askin Raziv. Just scrolling. Dim Mock. Wonder if that's D-Mock. And PJ was first. What's going on, guys? Bill G is the best sound tech on the internet. I sure appreciate him. Thank you, Bill. Sound is good. Good to hear. Tonight is Friday Night Fights. We'll see where it goes. I am in a bit of a feisty mood, so we'll see how that works out. And Jeremy's on vacation, so we do have a few people in Discord, and hopefully we'll have a good night. What's going on, guys? Happy Friday. You guys hear me? Hey. How's it going, everybody? We've got Bacon Caved In Dish Out Globe. I think that says. Face One, Aaron. Farming Ganja, Geo, Rob on the level, Keen, and Stu Unger.
What up, Brandon?
There we go. There's some enthusiasm. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Hey, Rob. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Level is horizontal.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Just wanted to remind you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on, guys?
On the level.
Right. Gotcha. It is Friday night, so it's Friday Night Fights. Limited moderation. Please refrain from talking all over each other and interrupting too much.
Be dicks.
Yeah, try not to be a dick. It's kind of hard, but we have to try. I don't really have anything on the agenda, so we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I did hear from Sean after last night's show, and he did accuse me of being a coward. I don't understand. I gave him what he wanted, and he just wasn't satisfied with it. I don't think there's anything more I can do. But shout out, Sean. If you're out there, stream's open.
You being a coward?
He said I was a coward,
had like
yeah.
3 hours to come on the show and defend himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I mean, I did invite him multiple times, right? I named his name was in the show. He has access in here. He was talking shit in the server during the show. So I don't get it. You know, I try to reach out the olive branch, and I just get spit in my face. So whatever. Anyway, no good deed goes unpunished, right? You know what they say. GPS says, to be fair, you are a coward, Brandon. And you're a liar, GPS. I've never had a conversation with you in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years where you haven't lied during the conversation. Even conversations that I stumble upon where you mention me, you lie in them, GPS. Just so you know. Anyway. What's up, guys? What's on your mind?
Best friend. We got his best friend on the panel, Witless Protection Program Agent. Why don't you come off mute?
No, maybe he's busy. So what's up? Travis joined us. Bob Dole joined us. Bob's been quiet lately.
Hello.
Hey. What's going on, man? Chad joined us. Name one thing I've lied about, GPS says. I've told you before, motherfucker. Why are you asking me again?
Ask him what GPS stands for.
Yeah. I thought I had him blocked. I don't know how he popped back up, but I remember now. I was going through the people that are blocked, and I was like, well, I'll be nice. I'll unblock this person. I'll unblock that person. Fucking foolishly unblocked. That
You know
line.
what happens
Shit.
when you give them enough rope. You know what happens.
Right? Anyway. So what's up? Server died last night. Voice died. Anybody know what happened? It's like there was 40 people in here, and then I woke up and there was nobody. Who's shit in the fucking punch bowl? Nobody? All right.
It wasn't me.
Uh-huh. So what's going on, Rob? What's new in your world, man? Nothing? He's working.
Oh, working.
Okay.
I got 3 cars on the go right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Two trucks and a limousine bus.
Hey, can we talk about something real quick? This Afghanistan thing I keep seeing stuff about. Did the U.S. really spend 20 years fighting the Taliban only to turn the country over to them, pretend they're our ally, leave them all of the military equipment, funding, and the names of the people that helped us during those 20 years of supposed war for freedom? Is that really what happened?
And we just gave them all that shit. Well, it's not we. I'm Canadian here, but like I watch a lot of American news, and like you really think that they just took all that shit over there and then just left it there? Billions of dollars worth of equipment. Let's get out of here. You guys can have it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, what kind of deal did we make?
Media in China in 2015 already said that peace can only start when USA stops supporting terrorists. Right? So the question is how much truth is there in that statement? This was just media from the other side, so to say. Right?
Sounds good to me.
So they even accused USA of supporting Taliban. Right? Yeah.
Well, it looks like that's what we're currently doing. They're talking about they handed over people that they wanted the Taliban to let through security, and lists of people essentially, and they're talking about them like they're legitimate government or something. It's very strange. Well, why were we trying to kill all of them for 20 years? Now we're just going to pretend that they're the legitimate. I just don't get it.
You can ask George Bush why we're there.
Yeah, I would. I'd ask him a few other things too.
It would have been
Are you
good if
sure?
I'm thinking he would probably.
on that one.
Oh,
it would have been good if Ellen DeGeneres had asked him when George Bush was on her show.
yeah, right.
Well, I think there is that old rule applies, right? That it says Afghanistan is easy to conquer, but it's endlessly hard to stay there for a long time because that rise of tribes always comes up, and then you are being pulled into these tribal conflicts. That is, I think, the reason their society is different. They are in a kind of Asian tribal society, not like in a Western society.
The terrain is extremely difficult. They're very isolated mountainous valleys separated by high walls. It's difficult to just move around.
Yes, exactly. So the fortress are not these bunkers or fortresses or whatever, but that mountain range, that Hindu Kush, that is the fortress, so to say. Right?
I think a bigger problem was exposed 5 years ago when the Government Accountability Office reported that Pentagon generals were saying they didn't know what the mission was. They didn't know why we were there.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
We could also ask Trump why he released 5,000 Taliban terrorists.
Yeah.
I say every government on earth and their top officials, every secret service know that 9/11 was a media and a victim hoax extravaganza. So at some level there has to be cooperation.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Right. Okay. We know your position, probably, Brenda, which is an official story
No, but
position.
how do you know it?
Right, because it's been proven a million ways to Sunday.
No,
We were always meant to figure
how?
out that 9/11
How
was
do
a
you
hoax.
know? If it's a big
I'm not
secret,
interested in talking
how
to
do
you now, please. So I'm just
yeah,
saying in
because I'm
general, you can
asking
take it
you-
or leave it. If we understand that 9/11, as we should have come, I'm talking to truthers more than anything else, we should, all the media fakery has been presented to us. So when we look back at 9/11, we get to that point, and then we have to understand that all governments, it's not too difficult to get to that point, are aware of this. So there has to be a different game in play, definitely, right? Whatever
how do
news
you
we get
know?
is not what's going on in reality.
Pete, how do you, if it's such a big secret, how do you know it?
What do you mean? It's not a big secret. 9/11 being a
said
hoax,
it was.
that's open. That's open. Anyone looking
no,
into
it isn't.
9/11, but anyone except you, Brenda.
it isn't a
stop with
secret.
your talk now.
You're
Shut
saying,
your mouth.
except you said it was a big secret because all the intelligence agencies know, right, that it was a false flag or whatever you call it.
I called it a hoax, Brenda. Do you know what a hoax is?
So all the Secret Service agencies know that it's a hoax,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. But then you turn around and say, well, it's just everybody. Everybody knows it. So you're not really saying
Why are they
anything.
called the Secret Service?
Am I saying this? Am I saying what you're saying? I'm saying. Why are you dipping your nose in here, Brenda?
I just want you to account
As the nose,
for-
as the nose through is up on a
I
GIF
just
on
want
the
you
chat.
to. I just want you to back up the stuff.
No, hang
you
on,
say.
shithead. It's your country that went in and destroyed
I didn't
Afghanistan.
curse at
so
you.
you should be
I didn't
more
curse
anxious
at
to
you.
stop
Don't
talking
you curse
over.
at me.
Stop
Don't
talking
curse
over,
me.
bitch. Right.
Don't curse me. Don't curse
Stop
me.
talking
all
over
right,
me.
all right.
Have some manners.
All right,
Okay,
let's
well,
move
listen,
on.
it's
Let's
a fight.
move
You're
on.
the
fight.
one
She's
without
Not
the
getting
talking
anywhere
manners.
between the two of you.
Right. Well, tell her to stop. Tell him to stop jumping in, then.
I didn't jump in. I waited until you paused and stopped
So
talking.
Brenda, make a
And
point though. Make a fucking point. Okay.
the point
you,
is,
you,
if
you believe the
everybody-
official story?
if everybody knows that it was a hoax, what is the point of saying all the secret services know that it's a hoax?
Plausible
I never said everyone knows it's a
deniability,
hoax, Brenda.
ability for people
vast
to
majority
keep
go-
their
Right.
delusions of freedom and propriety and all that shit.
I never said
No,
it was everyone knows as well, Brandon. I said
So
that all
everybody
secret
doesn't know?
services, government high officials know. When it comes to people looking into 9/11 conspiracy, of course, the vast majority just go with the official story and don't give a damn or a toss to look into it any further.
Right. So everybody doesn't know that it's a hoax then, right?
I didn't say that, Brenda. I didn't say it in those sweeping terms that every person on earth knows that 9/11 was a hoax.
I didn't say
Brenda,
that
come on.
either.
So
I
hey,
didn't say
let me
every
change
person
the
on Earth
subject real
doesn't know
quick
it's a
here
hoax.
because this is a stupid argument. So ISIS, I think
Yeah.
what you were getting at, Mr. Logo, it sounded like China was accusing the U.S. of supporting terrorists. I don't know if I heard
Chinese
you right.
Chinese media did,
Chinese
not
media.
China media. That is
Okay.
not necessarily the same. Don't confuse them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you. And I've heard other reports of that. I think that's legitimate. I think that was pretty much obvious during the Syria conflict that we were funding and training, if not current, former ISIS fighters to go in and fight the government forces in Syria. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Operation-
happening in other places. And of course, those forces can be traced back to the Mujahideen, which the U.S. equipped and trained in the 80s during its conflict against
Yeah.
the Soviet
and
Union,
there's-
correct?
Zbigniew Brzezinski called it his greatest mistake.
Yeah, well,
And-
he was right about that. And if you want somebody to blame, that's the guy we should get in front of us. Of course, he's dead now. Him and Kissinger.
And there was even back in the 80s when these same Mujahideen, in principle, the same fighters were still friend of USA, right, against Russia. Even at that time, they said death to Russia, but at the same time, they already said death to USA, death to America, right? And the source for that is who is already who died already, is a very good Middle East and Near East expert called Peter Scholl-Latour. Maybe you can also read his books in English. They should be available. Right? He knows a lot about that. Unfortunately he died in 2014 at the age of 90. But at that time he was spending time with those mujahideen in the 80s, and he reported about that.
And what did he say? Sounds like you've done a lot of research in this area.
Well, he warned a lot about that. It's a mistake, that it's an overreaction to these attacks in 9/11, right? That Afghanistan, that you don't plan such attacks in Afghanistan, in a cave in Afghanistan. And he even literally said they could have well been planned in a palace in Saudi Arabia or in Egypt or somewhere. But the irony is that all these countries were friends of, are still friends of USA, right? And even the identity of those hijackers points to that. They were all of those were Saudi nationals and one Egyptian. So the irony is that it came from a so-called official friends of USA, right? Not from the official enemies, right? That is the interesting.
Very interesting. You know, it makes
That's
me
the official
think.
conspiracy story, right?
I think that
No,
the
it's
whole
not.
thing, going into Afghanistan,
You can read that
Syria,
up.
the whole region, they needed a reason to go in there, and this is what came along. However,
Right.
it came along, but I think their overall goal, from what I can tell, was to destabilize the nations and prevent a new superpower from emerging from the Middle East, or at least them coalescing into a larger power, a regional power. What do you think about that?
Let me just say, when I said it was the official part of the official conspiracy, I'm talking about the mainstream story. Of course, we should know at this stage there's no plane crashes on 9/11. But, I mean, I'm not sure where everyone... I'm very surprised at the amount of silence from flat earth truthers about 9/11, and I have been throughout my time here.
Can you
So I guess
back
everyone's
up?
on a different page
Can
and
you
a big
back that up?
silence.
No, do you know
Yeah,
why
not
that
to you,
is,
no,
Pete?
not to you,
why
Evan.
we
Not to you, Evan.
have in the past not talked about it? Because one,
Yeah, it gets into trouble. I
YouTube
know.
has been very sensitive about it in the past, and when we're broadcasting on YouTube, like personally, I don't give a shit what we talk about on the server when we're not on YouTube. We have to be a little careful so that one of the few platforms that we have on YouTube doesn't get fucking shut down, right? Of course, I have
There
a
you go.
personal interest in
You won't
keeping
get
the
to talk
show
about
going,
any
but
serious things then, because you're restricted at every hand's turn. You get caught up in the stories that they give us. Let me just say about the Taliban and Afghanistan. I think it's no coincidence that all of this stuff is coming out around now with the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And I think myself that 9/11 conspiracy, you know, some of the stuff like the Stephen Jones or the Judy Wood maybe, or Dmitry Kalazov, some of that will be made mainstream, I think. And I think that, like, the American empire, Brandon, is up for demolition. That's what I think is going on, especially with all the Joe Biden sort of comedy. So who knows?
Yeah,
Sorry,
could be.
Brandon, you asked a question. Can you repeat that, please?
My question was, do you think that 9/11, this whole terrorist was just a ruse for them to carry out and execute their bigger plan of destabilizing the region to keep it from becoming a regional power?
The
An
Taliban.
excuse, sorry, go ahead.
The Taliban refused to accept a deal where they were going to build an oil pipeline through Afghanistan, or a natural gas pipeline. And so already there was reporting on September 10th, before the attacks even happened, that the Taliban were going to have to go from Afghanistan.
Personally, I don't support conspiracies which go so far that it was planned in US or whatever. That is nonsense. But insofar it came in quite convenient, right? That is what my view would be.
Yeah, whether or not it was carried out like a false flag or anything, it was definitely used as a pretense for a bigger agenda.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
PNAC,
exactly.
PNAC was pretty explicit about why they wanted to go in and destabilize the Middle East. They said so. They said why. It was completely public. There was no conspiracy.
Well, who said there was a
Wow.
conspiracy? I just...
Right. So there was no secret. The Project for the New American Century explicitly wanted to go into the Middle East and destabilize it. They wanted to do that.
Yeah, but Brenda, when you tell the public one thing and you say, we're going over there, we're going to find weapons of mass destruction, we got to kill these terrorist bastards that took down the
they
towers.
lied about that. They lied about
That's a
that. There were no
conspiracy, Brenda. When you lie about something and you're doing something for another reason or you have ulterior motives, that is a conspiracy.
And I think another important point, an interesting point, is the irony is that the Republic of Iran had even before offered to fix these problems in Afghanistan without the invention of USA, right? Which is quite ironic. But when you look behind the scenes, then it makes sense, right? Because although Iran is, as we know, a Shiite, right? But Taliban are extreme Sunni. And those are our official enemies for centuries, longer than USA ever existed, right? And that is quite ironic insofar, at a first glance, that Iran was offering to fix those things, and also in order to keep out any foreign troops, any US or other foreign troops out of the region. And I think that would have been the wisest step, to accept their offer, right?
Possibly. I don't know if you guys realize how severely ignorant of the Middle East the United States was at the time of 9/11. Like, no one could point to a map. Very few people could point to a map and even name the countries. People probably couldn't even told you what continent some of them were in, right?
Yeah, but I think also Britain was behaving more cautious and was behaving in better ways, right? Because they have more experience, ironically also from their colonial past, right?
Yeah, true.
Than USA. USA never had colonies insofar, right? But Britain has been in that region even, and had been in Afghanistan before, right? And in Pakistan and India and so on. So they had more experience from.
Right. Yeah, good point. Anyway, I just wanted to see what you guys thought about all that. It's just kind of shocking to me that 20 years just fucking came to this.
Is that a fact, by the way? US never had colonies.
Yeah, which one would that be?
Philippines?
Yeah,
Yeah, but that is a country on its own, right?
Yeah, we screwed over.
Was
right?
We screwed over the Philippines real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think their constitution is just a one-to-one copy of the U.S. constitution. But I doubt that.
Ironically, there's a lot of love for the United States in the Philippines,
right? But it's a total mess. So this is that so-called nation building. You can see that in these parts of the world, it never worked. Right? It always worked well. There has already been a nation before in Europe, Germany, and Japan, right? Where the West had already influence. But that nation building, what USA is portraying, never worked in the so-called third world.
Yeah, there have already been articles, like, for instance, in the Times, I think, and I forget who wrote it, that the U.S. should not be engaged in nation building. We should just not do that.
Duh. Fuck.
Yeah, the US shouldn't have done a lot of things, it seems, right? And can I just say, the PNAC agreement called for a new Pearl Harbor, and it turns out that there's massive suspicions that Pearl Harbor itself was maybe a faked affair to get the US into war as well. So if we're not thinking along those, I heard someone saying there that 9/11 conspiracy is ridiculous. Usually find only the ball-earth antagonists. Yeah, but it's always the ball-earth antagonists, right, who have this same anti-conspiratorial sort of mindset. The anti-corona hoax or the anything, anti-flat earth. They're the same one, same position. You can tell them a mile off. But that's not the point. Unless you come to realize what the truth of the matter is, if, for instance, it was not real as presented, well, then you have to be sure that there's plenty of people in the know and that there's a different game going on. Can I just say as well, Brexit has been in the news, so Britain has exited something. The American empire seems like it's on a massive decline, and I think nearly every country on Earth now is signed up to the United Nations, which have, of course, what we call the flat Earth map, anyway, or the possible representation of it. So isn't it very interesting, the timing of everything with Corona? I wonder, was Corona a changing of the guards, right?
And that's just more conspiracies that you can't back up.
No
So-
conspiracies in life. If someone looked at you and said, "That's a bloke dressed up as a woman," you're going to say you're a conspiracy.
I just admitted
All right,
that
let's
there
not
are
go there.
some
Come on.
conspiracies. I just admitted that there are some. I just don't think
Who cares
some of
what
the
you
ones.
admit, Brenda?
Some of the
9/11
ones
was a
that
conspiracy then, right?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was just fortuitous for the people who wanted to destabilize the Middle East. It was a fortunate happenstance that happened.
Just
They
happened to
didn't-
fall into their laps like that.
Yeah, well,
Give them every
do you
excuse.
have proof? Do you have proof that they were agents causing it?
You? Proof to you? Nothing,
So
nothing
you're the
would
one
satisfy
making
your
the
standard
claim.
of proof, Brenda.
You're the one making the claim. Back
I'm
it
not
up.
talking to you. I'm not. You are a knocker.
Yes, you are. You actually are talking to me.
Right, but I'm not talking especially or specifically to you. You are a knocker and a scoffer. You have all the truth in your possession, and you don't have ears for anything outside of that.
I'm willing to admit conspiracies when they can be shown to be true, but you can't show that the project for the New American Century was involved in 9/11. You can't show that.
Never said it was.
It's entirely possible then that it simply was a fortunate accident that they took advantage of because they already had policies written out in the event that it happened, and then it happened happenstance. There are accidents in the world. Not everything is planned.
Or maybe we were meant to see the PNAC agreement or the PNAC plan, and maybe we're being said and led like a nose ring through a bull, right?
Yeah,
maybe we're
you would need to demonstrate
Brenda.
that.
Let me just say, Brenda, do you not think we're dealing with fucking extremely intelligent, extremely keen minds here?
No,
who are
I
controlling
don't.
everything?
Brenda,
I
can you tell
don't.
me about Building 7? If you want to talk about 9/11, can we talk
So
about
I
Building
don't
7?
think that they are super geniuses running the world.
She won't.
They're
won't.
people.
Oh, okay.
They are people who
Liberals
have
don't
power.
answer questions they don't like.
No, so I'm talking. So they are people who have power, who are not morally very, very, very deep, who took advantage of on the political stage of something
Where'd
that
you get
happened.
your morals from, Brenda?
So
Just waffling,
it's
Brenda.
something that happened. So there's no reason to believe that they caused it to happen. They simply took advantage of it when it did.
Brenda, let's go to the fact that it did happen. Let's say somebody walked up to bin Laden and said, I know what the U.S. Department of Defense will be doing in a year from now, which is how long it would take you to put a stunt like this together. So clearly, somebody walked up to our hero bin Laden and said, here's what they will be doing a year from now. Now, if you peg it on this day, you will fuck them right up. How do you figure he got that information?
That was pretty
You
lucky.
You have to
There's
show
a lot
that
of
he had
coincidences that day. You got to admit that, Brenda, that there was a lot of weird shit. That was
Serendipitous.
No,
happening.
I don't think there were very
You
many.
need a whole year to plan
So,
this. At
so
least
you
6
just
months.
well, yes,
All
he
the
did. He
drills
sent
that were
people-
taking place, the people who conveniently called in sick or didn't go into the building or didn't get on airplanes.
He
Think about it,
sent
Brenda.
There's enough there to
Somebody
chew
told
on.
them
people
that
to learn how to fly planes. Yeah.
Brenda,
In the
someone
previous
told them what
year,
the
there
Department of Defense is doing in 6 months. Can you imagine getting your hands on information like that?
He sent people to Germany where they trained and then came to the United States, and there they learned how to fly big jets.
How did they
Right?
get information that this is what
Brenda's been doing this for
That's what
6
they're doing.
years. Why are you even entertaining this clown? And then you come
Yeah.
along and say,
Because what I say is right.
conspiratorial wise, Brenda will just knock it. He will
Because
just
what I
come
say,
along and say,
I didn't knock some things. I think there are some conspiracies. I don't think this one was a conspiracy.
what about the plane in Shanksville, Brenda, that crashed right into the hole in the ground that was just almost set there for it? Do you
Yeah,
not find anything
the
strange
brave
about that?
people on that plane smashed in the door to the pilot. The pilot
that's not what
Turner.
yes,
No,
that's
no,
what
no,
happened.
no,
And so
no,
you're
no.
just shitting on the
No,
memory of these
no,
people
stop.
who
Stop.
died.
Nonsense.
These people died.
You are so
Brenda, is that
pathetic.
after they talked on the
Address-
cell phone for a half hour?
Hold up, slow
Address-
down.
So you're just
Let's
shitting on
roll.
people who
Shut
died.
up, Adam.
trying to
Don't
save-
play that
trying to
little
save
fiddle,
other
Brenda.
people.
Just stop. Stop.
That's
Address
right,
what-
Brenda. For a
address
half
the
hour,
point.
they talk on a cell phone.
Hold on,
address the
hold
point.
on, party poet.
Quack,
Go ahead,
quack,
Travis.
quack, quack, quack.
No, I'm just saying that wasn't the point that was brought up, and so Brenda just completely dismissed it and went on to something else to pull at our heartstrings because let's roll.
We have audio of them planning and then storming the cabin.
Okay, again, you're not dealing. Again, you are
They
not
stormed
dealing with
the cabin.
Okay, great.
Brenda's only a
great.
scoffer and a mocker.
Yeah,
Brenda, how did they talk on a cell phone for a half hour?
Air Force One was not a real movie, right? You know that, right? With Harrison Ford, that wasn't a real movie, right?
Well, it was a real movie, but
We
keep in
have
mind,
the audio. The audio is real. We have the audio.
It's real. I heard it.
Yeah, we have the audio.
Yeah, they can't fake that shit.
No way.
All right, Farming Ganja, I think you were trying to say something. Hold on.
Hey, Mrs.
Hold on.
Johnson, this is
Farming
your son.
Ganja.
You believe me, right? Hey,
Hold
Mrs.
on.
Johnson, this is
Hold
your
on.
son. You do believe me, right?
Hold on. Farming Ganja, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say in the previous 2 years, there were like 66 instances where commercial flights lost communication with the tower, and the Air Force was able to successfully intercept every one of those planes. And yet on 9/11, they were unable to intercept any of those 4 aircraft.
Because they were told to stand down.
But that's because we didn't
Why?
know if it was live or if this was an exercise. Isn't that cool?
Why were they told to stand down, Brenda?
So you, because Dick Cheney thought that was an appropriate thing to do.
Dick Cheney.
Why?
Dick Cheney called for them to stand down.
Why? Why would he do
Is he
that?
possibly in on it?
You'd have to ask him. You'd have to ask him.
He's suspicious about his
Can you
motivations.
speculate? You've been speculating about a lot of other things. Why do you think he would do that?
Where's the proof? I mean, you're
my-
always asking evidence.
Brenda,
Where is it?
Brenda,
Yeah,
if I told the police department to sit down and eat a donut while crooks came to your house and wiped everyone out, you would be pretty mad at the fact that someone said, "Hey guys, go eat a donut instead of doing your job."
I think you cannot. I think you cannot ask Cheney anymore, right? He died already, right?
Yeah.
No.
Did he not? Yeah.
He's not dead, is he?
Is he? Oh, he'll
Yes.
never
I don't think
die.
so.
He'll never die. He made a deal with.
I don't think
with
he's
the
dead.
devil.
Rumsfeld is dead, apparently.
How did Cheney die?
Or is it?
Rumsfeld's
I
dead.
bet you like that.
Was that
Dick
Rumsfeld?
Cheney's alive and well.
I don't know. One of them is dead already, right?
You think the devil's real?
Rumsfeld passed
dead.
Rumsfeld passed
Oh,
away.
okay. Okay.
Well, anyway, I wanted to jump in a little bit earlier, but I was breaking up in Virginia. So just real quick, if you guys have never heard of John Perkins, he wrote a book with the second edition called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Okay, so if you don't think the United States was into colonialization, you need to really read that book.
I admit the United States does terrible things and has an imperialist attitude towards other countries. Of course it does.
But they were heroes on 9/11, right, Brenda?
That's different. How is that? How is that not the same?
What about Operation Northwoods, Brenda?
Well, see,
Do you
Brenda,
know what Operation
The point
Northwoods
is, you have to show, instead of shitting on the memory of people who died trying to save other people.
Stop it! You're making me
You
cry.
have to show.
Stop.
You know, a sociopath. I'm sure a sociopath has a hard time understanding
Oh,
these
say,
things.
can you see?
That's a British anthem as well, that tune. Isn't that funny how Britain and America are so connected?
Anyway, can we go back to the part where we asked that question about the crash in Pennsylvania?
Maybe we should go back to flat Earth. This is pretty hot topic.
What?
I know.
What about?
It's still
let me just say
hot.
this.
It's been 20 fucking years.
You go on mute.
It's been 20 years.
Hang on, please. What about the idea that all of the airwaves were taken over on 9/11 and we were all presented with a pre-prepared movie, 102 minutes long, that was prepared well in advance, and in the meantime, in reality, they pulled off a massive magic trick. What about that?
That's just your insane.
Not just mine. Not just
inferences.
mine.
Yes, it
Plenty of
is.
people
Yes,
have
it is.
expanded upon that. One flat earther, IPS, talks about that consistently.
Pete, you're a schizophrenic. You are
Am I
delusional.
really?
Yes.
There were no clouds in
But
the
you're a
sky
tranny.
at all that day. Have you ever looked
And
at
he was
that?
A tranny saying again, a schizophrenic. That's hilarious.
No clouds in the sky.
So
No
anyway,
one talks about these things, though. When you do talk about them, then you realize every great movie has a soundtrack. The soundtrack to 9/11 was Kid A by Radiohead. Funny enough, the lead singer, his nickname is Dodo. Isn't that funny? And one more thing, Brandon, and the final song from the album is called, song number 10, Motion Picture Soundtrack. The album was released in October 2000. I won't say any more.
Brenda, what do you think about that GIF that I posted where the nose of the plane is poking through the tower?
Never happened, right?
I don't see any GIF.
Logo there.
I just posted a little bit back in the chat.
I'm in general.
Yeah, because when we see it from the right angle, it's not the nose, it's the debris from the.
Do you think that
well,
the plane was actually passing
saw it.
through the tower? Is that how stupid you are?
The plane was CGI.
That's the point.
What plane?
That's the point.
On the other side, there is no plane. It's a debris from the tower.
Why is
Let's
it
think
shaped
out.
so perfectly
Shite,
like
where's the
the
island
front of the
Not
plane
shaped so
before it goes in?
perfectly. Why is it stopped there? Where is the continuation of this?
Because then they can't lie about
Well,
what
actually-
that actually shows. They
Shike,
can't
the
lie
reason it
about
stops right there is because the video, they went to black. Not just on this feed, but the
No,
other
you want me
three
to
live
find-
feeds
you
that there
want me to
were, they
find
went
the
to
other
black.
angles? You
Shikey,
want
shut
me
the
to find
fuck up.
other angles?
Shikey, go ahead, farming.
They went to black on all three of the live feeds at the same time. Right? Because this was a fuck up. This wasn't supposed to happen.
There are plenty of
It's your
videos
story.
showing the debris being ejected from the opposite side where the planes crash into the towers.
That's where the bomb went off.
See, after that little screw up, everything works fine, and that's where Brenda wants us to start looking from. We're not allowed to look up to the explosion because there's way too many technicalities that the CIA just didn't get right.
What
So if
I
you-
want,
Why does it
there's-
look
there's-
like the plane is coming out the other side of the building it just went through?
because
No, you don't understand. We don't talk about that. We only start talking after the buildings fell.
so
Up
you
to
can
that
see
point,
the whole video.
the CIA.
look.
Why does it look like the plane is coming out the other side of the building it just went through?
Because it's a screw up the CIA made, but we don't talk about
Party
CIA
poet.
screw ups.
Because it's edited to make you think that.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
There's two different documentaries.
Yes, it is.
There's two different documentaries. One's called September Clues. The other one is 9/11, an American Psy opera. Both of those are available on YouTube, and both of those go into extensive detail analyzing all of the live
Yeah.
footage.
But they're published by morons.
By the way, the raw footage for this video feed is out there. You can find it.
I tell you
So,
what,
Brenda,
I
I don't
will
know what the
listen
fuck you're talking. You think someone faked this?
Hang on. We will listen.
No,
to
I think
Is
that
that
they-
your theory? That's your conspiracy theory, Brenda? That someone faked
I
this
can't
image,
stop.
this image that we're
No.
putting here?
You know, I keep getting talked over, so I can't respond.
Party, hold on. Hold on, party poet. So, do you think someone faked this?
I think that they stopped the frames at a convenient part in order to make you think that it's
I don't
the
care
nose of
where
the
they
plane.
stop the frames.
And if
Why
they
is the
showed the
fucking nose
additional-
of the plane coming out of the other side of the building it just impacted?
If they showed the additional frames, it would be obvious to you that it's not. the
I've
plane.
got enough here. I can see the front of the plane coming out. Why is it coming out?
You don't know that that's the
something
front of the
not-
plane. That's not the nose of the plane. That's debris.
You're clearly not an American. You're not allowed to show these pictures. That's what Brenda's saying.
I've not said anything like that.
Oh, too bad. I like.
When you lie down with liars, you rise up with lies. It's as simple as that. Every question Brenda will challenge you on. And you're wrong about
No,
that,
it's
Brenda.
just
That was
critical
presented as
thinking.
lies.
What I would like people to do,
Building 7.
what I would like people to do is to employ critical thinking
Piss
and
off,
skepticism to your beliefs. But you
Brenda?
resist that because you want to believe.
The building 7
Brenda.
not go down.
Building 7.
All right, guys. We
cannot
probably
follow.
already pushed it enough for
Let's talk
Yeah.
about that one, Brenda.
Brenda's been doing this for
Sensors in
years. Can I
Silicon
just say to the
Valley.
guy who said that they fucked up with the nose out? No, they didn't. There was no errors on 9/11. Everything that was presented to us, everything we saw, we were specifically meant to see. Like the Harley guy, Brandon. You remember him? So everything was preset. We were watching a movie, and there was no slip-ups, but we were meant we were led into thinking that there were slip-ups, that people would investigate the nose out or
any of
build
that up?
7.
Can you back any of that up? Those are
Shut
your
up out of it,
suppositions.
dude. I'm
Those
not
are your
talking to you. Shut up out of
suppositions.
it.
Those are your suppositions.
Shut up out of it.
You have to
All right,
prove
anyway.
your suppositions.
So, flat Earth. Flat Earth versus globe. Who's got a topic on their mind?
I do. Earlier today, Conspiracy Cats had a video with Dr. Bob, the science guy, in which they demonstrated that sextants can only work on a globe Earth and not on a flat Earth. They
Really?
proved
I'm sure that there was tons of assumptions baked in there, but so what?
No,
why don't you explain their
You can
position to
elaborate
us
on
since you
that.
watched it? Go
Right,
ahead.
it could only work on a globe Earth.
Oh yeah, you
Go
said that
back.
already. Tell us why.
Yeah, you already said that.
Let me help, Brenda. Brenda, see, it all works as long as the origins of the story can be muddled in mud or work on magic. And then the rest of it works flawlessly. You've reverse engineered it up to like a certain point. There's just a little point here and there that you have a problem with. But as long as you iron out those little details in the origins, you got a wonderful story with sextants. Be only working on a globe. That's right.
Yeah, they only work on a globe.
That's right.
Why is it so, Brenda?
Because they just take angles. And if you were on a flat Earth, if you were on a flat Earth, those angles.
If you were on a
Let
flat
her
Earth,
finish. It was just getting good. Hold on.
there's
Hold
no
on.
right
Get away with an angle.
Take a ball.
You
turn it-
ask
Let her
me questions
let
and then
her
you
fucking
interrupt.
finish her sentence. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead, Brent.
Right. If you were to take those measurements on a flat Earth, they would point in different directions, and things can't be in two places at once.
No,
What
that's
flat
not
Earth
even,
model are you
what,
thinking of,
what are you
Brenda?
talking about? All you're doing is you're talking about using a sextant, right?
I'm talking about how on Conspiracy Cats with Bob the Science Guy showed
Shut up.
that
Shut up. You're
sextants.
talking,
So
right.
you asked me a question. I'm
Yeah, but you're
answering
just going to
you.
repeat yourself,
No,
Brenda.
I didn't ask you about Conspiracy Cats. I said you're talking about a sextant, right? Your answer is yes. Right?
I'm talking about how sextants prove the globe.
Okay,
So
great.
Bob and the other guy proved it because they used angles. Is that all you have, Brenda?
Listen, all you're doing is taking two reference points, the horizon and the star. That's it.
Well, you calculate the dip and you calculate
There is
refraction.
no dip. What dip? What the fuck are you talking about? Dip.
This answers all the questions.
The dip is from the horizontal to the horizon.
Here's
Why
how
do you
our
take the dip?
atmosphere works. Look at that swimming pool. It's a
Why
wonderful
do you
video
take the dip?
on how
Why
our
do you?
atmosphere works.
Why are you concerned with the dip?
Because it introduces errors into your calculations.
Okay, wait. So the dip introduces errors. Is that what you're saying?
Haven't you ever heard of?
Yeah, your height above the surface. You're right. You need to take that. You need to factor that in, as well as refraction.
Dipshit.
Again,
Yeah, explain
you're
anything,
only
Brenda.
dealing right. Yeah, it doesn't explain anything. All you have is two different points: lower point and the top point. That's going to be the same over anything that you're looking.
Right. So right, and then you use the sextant to bring it down to the horizon. Right.
Bring what
the
down?
lower limb. You use the angles, and the mirrors to move its position in your eyepiece.
Position? What position?
Its position in your eyepiece.
What? You're saying it.
The sun or a star.
Okay, keep going. Okay.
And you bring its position down to the horizon.
Yep.
And then you measure that angle, and then you would measure the dip, right? Which is the distance from your horizontal to the horizon. That would account for an error.
That's not a distance. No, you don't have a distance from your feet to the
It's
horizon.
an angle. It's an angle.
Okay, again, that's perfectly doable on a flat surface. What's your point?
If you did it on a flat surface and you took multiple readings, you would get different locations for the same object, and objects can't exist in multiple locations at the same time.
Okay, so you're not allowing. Okay, hold on. So if I take one measurement and I write down my my coordinates, and then I take another measurement and I get a different coordinate for the star, why couldn't that just simply be my error because I'm fucking holding this thing with my hand and my hand's not stable, right?
Well, if your hand isn't stable and you don't take accurate measurements, well, let's assume that you can take accurate measurements within the tolerances of the instrument.
Great. So now what you're going to have to then do is now show us that you take a sextant and get these different coordinates and get different results each time, right?
Yeah, you could watch the video and find that out. Go ahead.
No. Again, you're making claims for something that you've not done, you can't demonstrate.
Yeah,
and ultimately, if you're taking it's user error, I'm just going to attribute it to user error.
Right.
What's your reason?
So the fact that I haven't done it doesn't make it false.
What's your reason? If I say that the different readings are the result of user error, what's your excuse?
Well, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Everybody who takes an accurate measurement ends up with the same results that Brenda described.
An accurate measurement.
Hang on, please. Hang on, Brenda. When you talk about it doesn't work on a flat Earth model, do you have the stars at a near distance and as, let's say, reflections or something different? And have you replaced infinite vacuum of space with something that might affect everything we observe here on Earth? Have you done anything like that? Filled in the sort of the gaps or even the basic aspects of any model? Because you say it doesn't work on that model.
I think you're changing the topic. We're talking about sextants.
No, you said it doesn't work on a flat Earth.
You got that flat Earth model, Brenda?
I'm just asking you for the component parts. Maybe Rumpus will be able to fill in the component parts.
I just have a
Brenda,
really
absolutely
quick
correct.
question.
If you take three measurements, say and the Aristophanes experiment, for instance, if you take three measurements of the position of the sun, you end up with three different positions of the sun. It only works when you've got a spherical Earth.
No,
yeah, I think Sky Rumpus.
I think
Sky is contoured.
Hold on, guys. I think flat Earth should first come up with a consistent model, right? Well, most flat earthers agree with, right?
They're
not some diffuse, some diffuse. Oh, look at it! It looks like it's a disc or
there's a tactic.
a pizza.
No, that's not so. Because Brenda said it doesn't work on the flat Earth model. So she or he must have some specific model in mind. And
Yeah, but you don't have one, right? But the irony, that is the irony, right? You don't have a model, right? She has, right? But you don't. So then present
You know what
it.
I have, bud. And I also knew from the outset, the way you were talking,
Present
you were
it.
Earther. I fucking knew it.
Present it. Why don't you present it?
All you guys have done with your model, your globe model, is notice the relationship between distance and angle for celestial objects, and then turned that into the physical ground that we stand on. That's all you've done. You haven't proven that is what we actually stand on. You've got a mathematical model where you've represented that relationship as physicality of the ground we're on top of. That's it. You haven't proved that the Earth's curved. You haven't proved that we're on a giant ball.
Yes, we
Yes,
have.
we have.
You haven't proved that the stars are hundreds of light years away.
Yes, we have. Because they don't.
No, you haven't.
We're the sphere.
Exactly all of that.
We see that the drop we see matches the angles we see in the sky. So, yes.
We have many ways
You dropped.
of
those at eye level?
the
Drop,
Polaris
yeah,
agrees
from
with
eye
all of them.
level,
All these
yeah.
independent ways of measuring the radius of the Earth agree with the Polaris method.
No,
Yes, they do. You're just denying reality if you say that.
you have some base assumptions that are
No, there are
incorrect.
no assumptions at all. You just basic assumptions. You
See,
just
the
no
fact that
assumptions,
you
just
say that
make
there's no
observations.
assumptions at all
Exactly with the Polaris
means that you
thing.
haven't thought about it at all.
Oh, I
or
have.
you're a
Oh, I
fucking
have.
liar.
Oh, I
It means
have.
one of
Oh,
those
no,
two
no,
things.
you're a
it's-
moron.
I
You
think
don't
I
understand.
always,
You can start
I
off with
always,
no assumptions, and from Polaris you can determine that we must be on a
No
curved Earth.
assumptions whatsoever, right?
Well, you have to determine, I suppose, that the stars are distant, which you can also do. So if you assume the stars are distant, then Polaris is distant. Then you can say that the only shape that
So
accounts for the change in angle of the Polaris, you go up and down, is the shape of the Earth you're on, and therefore you can determine its radius.
You
from
have
the
to
way
assume
it
that,
changes.
Rumpus.
Okay.
No
Good job. You
assumptions at
just
all.
admitted that
Except the
it's
stars
based
are
off of
distant.
some assumptions.
And you can show they have to be distant, as Brenda said, because if you take 3 independent measurements, you'd end up 3 different positions of the stars.
That doesn't
only way
prove
you
they're
can make-
distant.
The only way you can account for it is if they are distant.
No, that is one way you could account for it. That is how
okay,
you've
there's no
chosen
other
to
way.
account for it because
Okay,
it
present
fits in
away.
with your
Present away.
globe model.
Hold on.
Present away then. Present
Hold on,
away
just
that
real quick.
accounts for it.
Okay, so
No,
hold on. Just
you
real
don't.
quick.
You
So
have presented
can't.
us nothing. You've presented us assumptions,
There's no assumption.
presuppositions, and then
No.
you've declared that
No
they must
assumptions.
be right.
No assumption
Okay,
at all,
just
because we
real
can
quick.
conclude that the stars are a long way away. So that's not an assumption.
How can
And
you
from
conclude
the
that,
conclusion
Rob?
the stars are a long way
Model,
away,
right?
You said
the
it was an
only shape that
assumption.
counts for the change.
You
No
said
assumption.
it was an assumption into your
No, I
model,
didn't.
and then
No.
you said that you could conclude
No.
it from your model.
No, here we go. We start off with nothing. Start off with absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah,
You
why
then
did you tell 'em how
determine. Hold
Galileo
on, here we
proved
go. Here we
everything?
go. From nothing at all. You
Okay,
look
let's
up at
hear
the
it. Let's
sky.
hear
Galileo
it.
proved everything.
Then you can determine that the stars are a long way away because they exhibit no parallax. So from that, you determine they're a long way away. Then you start moving up and down a line of longitude, and you see these stars changing angle uniformly and linearly by 1 degree every 69 miles. And from that, the only shape, that gives you that behavior is a sphere of a particular.
Hang on,
radius.
Rumpus. You've assumed that the stars are solid bodies, right?
Doesn't make a difference.
Of course, it makes a difference.
No, it
That's
doesn't.
another assumption you've made.
Doesn't make a
No,
difference.
he
That's
didn't
not
make
normal.
this
You made an assumption that there's
Doesn't make
some
any
up-
difference. They're just
massive
lights in the
distances
sky
away.
that are a long way away. That's the only thing you need
The assumptions
to know
are
about.
mounting up, Rumpus.
No
Why
assumption
does
at
the
all.
why does the lack of parallax mean they have to be distant?
Because
can't they
if
just
you
be
had,
moving
well, here we
together?
go. I'll explain that to you. If you were in a car and you look at a hedge just outside your car door as you're going along 60 miles an hour or so, it moves very rapidly across your line of vision. But
You're
say if you're
looking-
looking,
you're
let me
looking
finish,
up
let me
No,
finish,
what it is.
No,
let
no,
me
no.
finish.
Come on, no
Let me
interrupting.
finish.
Let's.
Answer
Just
the
a minute.
question.
Here we go. I'm in the middle of a sentence. I'm in the second part of the sentence.
Keep it short and concise, Rumpus.
Oh my God! Can I just 5 seconds? 10
Get to
seconds.
the fucking
And-
point, Rumpus.
Well, I was
Don't
interrupted
fucking
after
shut
about
the
10
fuck up,
words.
Rumpus.
So here we go.
you
So
gotta
there's no
yell all
parallax.
the
So
time.
when you're in a car,
problem.
when you're in a car doing 60 miles an hour and you're not looking at a nearby hedge, say, and you're looking at, say, the sun or the stars, you see no movement in the stars. Therefore, you have no parallax in the stars, but you have parallax things close to you. That's what parallax is.
You
Whoever
know
asked
what a
that
fucking
question-
hedge is.
Why they couldn't be
You know what a
moving
hedge is. You don't know
together.
what a star is. You assume
He
it.
asked why they couldn't be moving together.
Yeah,
That's
why
what
can't
he
they-
asked.
Why can't they just all be moving together?
Yes, they are.
Well, that
They
still
have a
means there's
singular
no parallax.
earthbound source as well. Isn't that fantastic?
Well, that means, okay, if you want to say that the stars, the Earth and the stars are moving uniformly, okay.
the Earth is
you
not-
can
Never
do that,
thought
but
about that. Damn.
it
No,
doesn't make a
listen, no.
difference.
No.
It
It's
doesn't make a
not this.
difference.
No,
Can I
it's
can I
not the-
help?
It's not
That
the
wouldn't
Earth and the
change.
stars together. It's not the Earth and the stars together. Go ahead, Glenn.
Can I go through a thought experiment, because I'm not understanding this. I thought Brenda said earlier, either way, that it was, and I think you just said it yourself. When you get 3 observers, it means that you get different angles and different readings for the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can walk through this thought experiment with me, and you'll probably understand it way more than Brandon does. But let's say there's me, you, and Brandon, 3 people. You're in Birmingham. I'm in Portsmouth, right on the south coast. Yeah, and Brandon's in London. Okay, they're all 3 different distances apart of this triangle, so they're not equal arms or legs.
Well, let's go on. It's easier if they're all on a straight line. That makes the thing much clearer to
No,
understand.
we're doing a triangle.
Well, no, let's
we're
not
doing
do
a-
a triangle. Let's do it on the line.
No,
because then
no, wait there, because this is
then
the
the trigonometry is clearer. If you
No,
start
can you
doing,
hang on?
you've introduced another dimension.
No, why are you
complicating-
changing my thought experiment?
Because your thought experiment is unnecessarily
It's a circle of
complicating.
equal
Rumpus, shut the
altitude,
fuck up.
isn't it?
No, we're not interested in that. We're interested
No,
in being in a
wait
line.
there. You haven't heard the whole thing yet. So just stop interrupting. You're the one interrupting now. And you've just gone, oh, but I was interrupted. Please, man up and just listen. Yeah, there's a thought experiment. Yeah? So we're in these cities, which are, let's say, roughly 200 miles apart each. Now, Brandon in London has a plane right over his head. And we know planes are close, don't we? Now, Brandon has the plane at his zenith. Yeah, so he knows that, let's pretend this plane is a star. He knows that this star is above his head, 90 degrees upwards, yeah? Now, from your perspective, okay, if the plane is only 40,000 feet, you won't really see it until it gets at an angle of, let's say, 45 degrees to Brandon. Now, as soon as that happens, you start seeing it come up on your horizon, okay, due to perspective. Now, me, all the time, I'm not seeing it if it's going from a straight line from Brandon to you. I'm seeing it at 0, not even at the horizon, yeah, or on the horizon. Brandon's seeing it at 45 degrees, and you're seeing it at, let's say, 1 or 2 degrees off the horizon coming into view. And then, obviously, as the plane continues, gets above your head, so it's at your zenith, it's now at 90 degrees above you. Brandon, it's 1 or 2 degrees off his horizon, and I still can't see it. So that's 3 different degrees for the same, or angular measurements, let's say, for the same object from 3 different locations. So how is that any different to what you was just saying? On the basic side, you then went on and said, parallax, blah, blah, blah. But
you've added the dimension of time to the equation.
no, there was one time.
No, you specifically added time for the plane to fly from Brandon's
No,
zenith
you can
to
freeze
his
time at
horizon.
any one point and it will be different angles for every 3 observers.
Right, here's a diagram showing the situation that Brenda was alluding to, where you have 3 observers in a straight line on the Earth. And if you do this, as you can do in the Aristophanes experiment, you put them in a line to simplify the calculations. And if you do this on a flat Earth, you will find the moon, or whatever it is you happen to be looking at, is in 3 different locations.
Yes, that's perfectly acceptable.
No, it's not.
No,
Yes, it is.
You've got the moon in 3 different locations, and
Right.
only when you have a curved Earth do all those 3
Okay, hold
points
on.
agree. Shut up! You're interrupting me, Travis, while I'm in the middle of explaining the point. I'm nearly finished.
You don't need to explain the point. I know
No, you
what
shut
you're
up! Shut up! You're in the middle. I was in the middle of explaining this diagram. Stop trying to sabotage it. So, if you have actually in the real world make these 3 observations, you will end up with the moon in 3 different positions, only by having a curved surface.
You've already said this.
I haven't finished yet. Yeah, well, shut up and listen. I have to listen to your
You've
crap
already
all the time.
said this.
Yeah, shut up. I haven't finished yet. I'll come to the punchline. And so when this surface you have is curved, then all those 3 points come together. Finish. Go ahead, you little wanker.
Okay, look. If you have a large building in the distance and you put 3 different people in the same line at different distances, that fucking building is not going to be at the same elevation for all of them. It's the same thing.
But it will intersect the line of sight at the same point.
They will
me ask
all
Rumpus.
agree on the position of the building. You utter moron.
Rumpus.
Wait.
Right.
Wait.
No, you're getting more
I
stupid
have a
by
question.
the day.
Okay, great. Okay, so pretend I am stupid, right?
You are.
So when you say
No need to pretend.
Wait, okay, shut up, Jake. Say that again about the position of the building.
Right. If I were to get 3 people
Oh my
in a
God,
line,
don't fucking
like this diagram,
No,
so let's put a
just say
building.
what you
Let's
said a
pretend.
minute ago, you fuck.
Let's put it in a building, and let's put a new situation in a building. Let's do what you said. Right. So
No,
here we have.
I didn't
I'm going
ask
to
you
do
to
exactly
create
what you
another
suggested,
scenario.
Travis. I'm doing
No.
exactly what you said. I am
No.
doing exactly what you said. So here we have a building, and if we put 3 people in a
me.
line, and I'm going to put them as 3 stars. So if we have a person here, a person here, and a person here, and then we have asked them to say, what's the angle? What's the angle you will see?
Yeah, they all have different
They
angles.
will all agree that if they then know the distances between them, they will all agree where that building is.
They already know where the fucking building is. It's in front of them.
No, they won't.
Travis,
Refraction will move it up and down for
Three line
everyone.
You
intersect at
claim
the
that 3
same
people would come up
point.
with different positions. They won't.
No,
They
I
will.
didn't say different
Refraction.
positions.
Oh my God.
Listen, I didn't say different positions. I said different angles to the
Yes, they
top
have
of the
different
building.
angles, but they will all agree where the building is. They will all
I
intersect.
didn't say they. Okay, look, I didn't say they wouldn't know. That's
Oh,
not actually.
well, you weren't making a point then, were you? We all
Because that
know
was
they've got
Brenda's
different
point.
angles. The different
That
is
was Brenda's
that on
point
the moon,
earlier.
those lines do not intersect, whereas on an Earth they do.
Well, every two intersect,
When you
but
forget about
never the
perspective,
three at the
yeah.
same point. Get it?
My God, how stupid can you be?
I think Slice Barcane did this too with the moon.
What? Hang
Was
on,
it?
please, Brenda.
The
Hang on,
sun. I
please.
think he did it
Rumpus.
because he got
Rumpus.
so
Oh,
Have
the
you
sun?
exhausted all
Dr.
possibilities
Zach
to
and
say
Steve
that it
Torrance
can't
done it
work on
with
a
300
flat Earth?
people.
Rumpus, have you exhausted all possibilities to say that it can't work on a flat Earth? For instance, what if it is a flat plane, but the sky itself or a barrier, it is a contour to that? So if this isn't taken into account, then you will get necessarily inaccurate
What's
sort of
contour to
locations.
what? You mentioned the word contour. I think you thought if you mentioned a word like that, you would somehow slip in some excuse for how it might not work. But no,
So I
have no
asked
idea what
you,
mean by
have you
contour.
exhausted all possibilities when you say it won't work on a
Yes.
flat plane?
Science. There have been many millions of people.
I
who
asked
have
you a
tried-
question.
Yes, I have exhausted, and so has science
Right.
exhausted all.
So we
the
know something is
alternatives.
contoured. Imagining for a second that the Earth's surface is flat. If there's a contoured barrier above that, the lights
What does
or
that
the
mean?
sky
I
lights,
don't
as we
know what you mean by
perceive
that.
them,
What-
are
hold on,
reflecting
let me
off
just
it.
try
Have
and
you
understand what you mean
considered
by that.
this?
When you say contour
Have you
barrier, so what
considered
you're
it?
saying, hold on, let's try and understand what the hell you mean. So you're saying, so where I had up here the moon, you're saying that between you and the moon, there's some sort of wiggly barrier like this or something. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
That's
And
somehow
so
in
instead
the
of
way and therefore-
contouring the Earth, contour the
Contouring
sky.
the Earth.
That's
What do you mean
all.
by contouring the Earth? You mean the Earth is
Well,
not...
you have contouring the Earth, so you turned what we all experience, a flat Earth, into a contoured, rotund Earth, right? You've contoured the surface. Now, instead of doing that, leave the surface flat, but contour the sky. Would you get a result that would be appropriate to what we
The sky doesn't have
experience?
shape. It's just an atmosphere. It doesn't. You can't contour.
Just
the
saying,
sky.
Rumpus, if there was...
it's gibberish.
Hang on, please.
You're
This is-
contouring
hang on,
gas.
stop talking.
You might as well
Stop
try
talking,
and contour the
Rumpus.
gas
As
in
part
a
of the flat
container.
Earth model, stop talking. As part of the flat Earth model, you see, you've got to extend your understanding a little bit and go at least to
No, I understand
speculate.
science, and you don't
Rumpus,
just make me
you
stuff
have
up.
to go to say more to say than just, oh well, it
Science
doesn't
has
work on a
considered
flat Earth.
everything
Stop
and more than
talking.
you've ever
It
thought
doesn't.
about.
You have to have more to say than it just
Rumpus.
doesn't work on a flat
All right.
Earth. Listen, can I just get my sentence out, please,
Yeah,
without you
yeah,
interrupting,
go.
Rumpus?
You can't
You have
contour
to
gases, Pete.
Listen, you have to go further. When you make a statement that doesn't work on a flat Earth, you have to say something like, well, my flat Earth model consists of more than just a flat surface. There has to be other things to it. So if you can't extend your mind to imagining a contour, only in possibility a contoured barrier above of some sort, well then you're not going to get very far with us. We're not going to vary with you, right?
Can I put a counter site on the table?
Propose
a
a,
second.
model then,
Yep.
Pete. Propose your model.
No,
and we'll have
I've
look
got
at
a
it.
counter site model right here, right now.
If there's
let's see
a
it, go.
dome, if there's a dome,
I'll give
and
it you,
as Pete
Brandon, if
says,
you can go.
there's- If there's a dome and there's reflections off the dome, Pete would need to show that those reflections obey the known laws of reflection.
I would not, because there
Yes,
is
you
no
would.
official flat Earth model, right? So when you say it doesn't work on a flat Earth, you yourself put the onus on you to at least have
No.
some aspects to that fucking model.
If you're saying they're reflections, you need to show that those reflections
I know they are
obey the
reflections.
known
And more
law.
so, I can tell you the source of those reflections, which is Aristarchus.
You have to
I think Pete
prove
made a
that
good
they are
point, though,
doing that.
Brenda.
To anyone.
Hold on, Pete. I think Pete made a good point. If you're going to claim that you've debunked a flat Earth model, you can't just throw out any old fucking thing there, like this lame, just flat surface.
Well, it's the only model we've got. Show us
your
another one.
lame Polaris debunk, Rumpus, not taking into account the vanishing line, not taking into account perspective. Why are you talking over me?
I just put one in the general.
Well, it's obviously
The
flawed.
fuck?
You're complaining we've only got this one. Show us the one that we should be
If you've
considering.
got a flawed argument, you can just interrupt the host.
All right. So you need to put together, if you're going to claim that you falsified something, then make it worth your falsification. So far, the model that you present to us is bullshit. It'd be like us saying
Flat
that
Earth with
Earth has an up,
That's all we need.
shut up, Chikey. That
We
Earth
don't know
has an up
anything
and a
else.
down. North is up, south is down. You guys always complain about that it's a straw man, right?
Right, because you don't give any alternative. We know flat Earth and air above. That's all we know. You know anything else? Please show it.
Well, so in the meantime, you're going to go around claiming that you've debunked the flat Earth model
I don't even know what
like a fucking poser, right?
Well, we
My
don't
model,
need
Nowadays,
you can
it's the
change it.
flat bits part of it. If you
You're
want to add
fucking
something else to your
posers.
flat Earth model, you're going to have to tell
You're
us what it is.
posers
We've
pretending you
invalidated the flat
falsified
part.
something. Science
We've
posers.
invalidated-
You're a
we
science
don't have-
poser,
We
Rumpus.
don't have to.
We have
don't have to
invalidated
make
the
up.
flat geometry. If you've got some other part you wish to present, we'll have a look at it.
All right.
You're a
just
science
real quick,
poser too, Brenda.
I think
So
that we
you
should
need.
just go back
You
to,
have
I
the
was just
obligation
talking,
to
Brent.
provide
I
a
was just
model.
talking.
You do,
I
not
jumped
us.
in and started talking before you. I know I did. Listen, I think we should go back to what Bob Dole brought up because it was a fantastic point about the stars moving together. Okay, you
Travis,
have now.
Can I expand on your
What that
building
has
thing,
to do
though?
with
You're
anything?
building
We're
an
talking about parallax now.
So let's just say Travis is building, and let's just say it's nighttime, so you can't see the building, but go ahead and put a light on top of that building, right?
So.
Yeah.
Okay,
How
Travis
does
is building.
change anything?
But now it's nighttime, but put a light on top of that building and have
Yeah,
three
correct.
observers.
Brilliant, brilliant
This
contri-
part, that's
contribution,
right.
face.
He's
So
perfectly
what-
right.
Absolutely
None of you have got a clue. None of you have got a
Absolutely
clue.
brilliant.
It'll be 1 degree off the horizon, then 15 degrees for someone closer up, then 24 degrees. Just
Yeah,
that
we
light.
know. They will all intersect. All line will intersect at the same point.
No, they won't. There'll be different levels
They-
of
they
refraction
will.
at every
They
single
will
time.
all three of them.
Anyway, Brandon has got
completely
it up
wrong,
on his
Clean.
screen.
That's 'cause this is
Brandon
why you
has
don't
got it
understand the
up on his
Polaris.
screen. No, listen. Brandon has got it up on his screen. Forget my maths. Yeah. There is a flat earther who has done 300 measurements with his team of people, his supporters, and they've all put in measurements to Polaris. He's then took in all that data, created...
Taken. You can't speak English. It's taken. Not
Shut
took.
up! Why you have to be a grammar Nazi when you're just
Because
getting
you can't-
debunked?
You've got an English that's worse than a 5-year-old. For God's sake, educate yourself and speak proper English.
Speak proper
Wow,
English.
He's afraid of your.
You're scared, aren't you?
come on,
You're
no,
scared,
no,
Rich.
no, yeah,
You're
you're
scared.
English is that
Listen,
Stop
listen,
being
mate.
ridiculous.
Listen, mate. We're not all brought up with a silver spoon in our mouths, mate. We're all not brought up with in the top school.
Rumpus, shut the fuck up. Stop complaining about someone
Listen,
else's fucking. the
Why
way they
are you
talk. Go
complaining
ahead.
about my English when I'm presenting a model? It's all you ever wanted.
You've got him rattled, Glean. That's why.
I know. It always
where's your
turns to
model?
that. But anyway,
Where's your model?
he's got 300 data points from 300 of his fans. Yeah, all around the world. They all took it at one point. Yeah, he got all the different angles. They were all loads of different angles. Yeah, it's on the screen.
Brandon showing.
Yes.
I didn't see
Can
it
I
on
ask
the
you a couple
screen.
questions about this video?
Let's
It's not the first
Well,
time I've seen it.
can you not just hear the end of the sentence? Because no, what you can do is if anybody has any questions, this is not my model. I didn't make it. This is a flat earther called Steve Torrance, who's a director of FE Core. He used to go around with and still does Dr. Zach, who is now known as Decimal Z, I think. Yeah.
Isn't he Steve? Isn't he? Hasn't he got a channel?
Steve Torrance, yes. So he's got actual real world data points. He's put all the stars in Polaris at 4,000 miles. And yes, they didn't match, Rumpus. Yes, with pure geometry, they did not match.
Sorry, what
However, no, wait there. All the angles didn't match up to 1 point. Now,
Well, on a
that
flat
was
they don't.
can you listen? That was when you take a God frame of reference and you look down on the system at all these lines pointing off. He done it in 3D Auto Max. Yeah,
Hold
so
on.
he's...
You're claiming that
Listen,
he's got lots of people.
wait there. Let me give you clarity. Let me finish the whole
Rumpus.
thing.
Like to
Let
hear
me finish the whole
3
thing, and I'll probably already answer what you're going to ask. Yeah. So he's then put this in computer and seen that when you're looking down on the system, no, that isn't the case. Everything mismatches on a flat
so
Earth.
you're saying-
No, hold on. No, hold on. Let me fucking finish, you interrupting cunt.
Get on with it then.
Fuck you. You've interrupted me 6 times, Rumpus. I've only tried to explain one thing.
Question I've got.
No, well, ask after. I've fucking explained it because I may
Rumpus,
already
next
answer
time you
it.
interrupt, I'm gonna fucking mute you for good.
You're scared.
fine.
This is a real trigger that you're scared. But anyway, final bit. Okay, so he then mapped it out, and yes, it doesn't work when you look from God's frame of reference, a geometric point of view, called physical space in optometry. Now, when you go down to the floor and you set up a camera to a wide-angle camera, like a DSLR, like a P900, something like that. It wasn't actually that. It was a DSLR that he set it to, but it was wide-angled lens. He added generic refraction, which comes with the software. It's a tick box, and voila, the angles started to match.
Right. So are you claiming then that the angle to Polaris is not changing by 1 degree every 69 miles you go along a line of longitude? Is that what you're saying? Is
Did you
data
even
claim?
listen,
Rumpus, did you listen to
Anything
what
that
I've
was
just explained?
Yeah, that's
Because
what
that's
you're
completely
saying.
different. That's completely different.
You're saying that you're saying that the rules for a spherical Earth and the observations of Polaris don't work, which means that you're saying that people
That's
making these
not what he
observations
said,
did
Rumpus.
not get
Don't
their
straw man him.
latitude to be
That's not what he
1
said.
degree difference
I'll-
for every degree
I'll
of
explain.
latitude.
I'll explain for you
That's what
very,
you're saying
very
by it doesn't
simply.
work. That's what you must mean by saying it doesn't work.
Gleam,
Yeah, no,
say
not
it
at all.
again because he's obviously so
Yeah.
dumb.
I'm
that
going to
everybody
explain
else
to you.
in the room that
But
understood
don't you
what
understand?
you
It has
said,
to. You're
he's
claiming invalid
I'm going to
data
explain to you,
made
Rumpus. Calm
If you're
down and
saying,
listen.
if you're saying he's
Use
come
your
up with a
ears.
model that doesn't work,
Use
who
your
cares?
ears.
He's a tosser.
Use your ears. No,
But
it does
you've
work
got
now.
invalid-
Now that he added
the
real
globe
life
model.
refraction
Colin,
and
you
real
had about
life
2 minutes, Gleam, and I
aperture.
hadn't had more than one sentence. You
Yeah,
had 2
because
minutes.
you haven't let me
You had
answer
2
your
minutes,
question.
Gleam, uninterrupted almost.
Yeah, so you've got more than one.
All right. Well, they figured that out. Kango 24, $5. Sunset, sunrise, flat Earth debunked. You wish. You wish. If that's what you think, Kango, you're further behind than I think you are. And Kango 24, New Zealand, $5. The sun does not change angular size during sunset or sunrise, so it's nothing to do with perspective. Maybe it sets because of delusion. No, I don't think so. I think it sets because of several reasons. Perspective and atmospherics and the way we see optics. So go think about it. Thank you very much, Kango.
Being is the vanishing point on all three.
Known
In
as
geometry,
psychology.
no, shut up,
Psychology.
shut up, shut up, because I will draw for your death there because
It's
you
psychology.
literally got something wrong,
do what?
Brendan.
You're talking
Look
about
at all your
psychology.
interrupting. Anyway, I'm
Yes,
not.
but you've had more
I'm
time
talking.
than I've had.
No.
I've barely had a sentence.
Oh, you had more time than
I've
I've
only
had.
had one sentence, and that's to
Look
complain I
look
haven't
in
had
the
a
chat,
sentence.
right? Look in the general chat, and if it says that Brenda is wrong about something, then you just shut up interrupting me and just listen. Yeah, because it accounts for anything. It's the geometries of visual space, and that doesn't matter whether you're using an image photography, because photogrammetric has to take account for this. You know, measurements when they're doing long distance measurements of building sites with cameras. Yeah,
Right,
precise
so what you
ones
said
at
is
that.
this Steve
No, wait there,
Torrance guy-
You've missed.
Oh, for God's
You've
sake.
missed.
How long are you going to go on for before?
Yeah, you're talking
I'm
for 5
going to
minutes,
keep
saying
going
nothing.
until you stop
But
interrupting
say
me.
something.
Yes,
Let
there's
him
three
make his
spaces.
point then.
There's three
Stop
spaces.
interrupting.
There's three spaces, and
Repeat
it all
it
depends
again.
on the vanishing point. In geometric space, physical space, it's infinite. In perspective space, it's limited by the device. In pictorial space, it's zero because you have squashed it into a zero-dimensional depth. Done. You go and ask Steve Torrance what you need to ask him. But there is
I
a
haven't-
model
my
that you
question
thought
for
did
Steve
not
Torrance.
exist.
So,
My question
all
for
you've
Steve
stated
Torrance.
is that Steve Torrance has come up with a model that doesn't work.
No,
What
he's
you've
made
got
it
to
work.
do- Oh, no,
You're an idiot. You
No,
didn't
no,
hear
no,
it.
No, you haven't. You said it doesn't work. So
No,
on
I've
the
said
model-
it didn't work when you look from God's frame of reference. And you're not God. You go down to earth and it does work when you add in reality.
What
That's
doesn't
the
work,
only
Lee,
place
is
we
what-
view the Earth from,
Why
in fact.
then
Is he deaf? Is he
Why
It's the
deaf?
only
then
point of
don't-
view we
Can I get a
have. I don't know if you're aware of
Can
that.
I actually get a
Why?
sentence out?
I
of
want
this
to
thing,
get it
please?
right.
Can I
Why
get a sentence?
This is redundant.
Could I have a
Steve,
reply?
no,
We've
no,
had
no.
Glean's
Just a
thing for
second.
Can I
5
make a
minutes,
point here?
and I
'Cause this
haven't
is
had a chance
farcical.
to reply yet.
No,
Yeah, let
I
Rumpus
haven't
reply,
said
and then
anything.
we'll go
Oh,
to
Jesus
Go
Christ,
on,
I've only
Rumpus.
had
Adam.
one sentence. So
You
all
have
we've
never
had
said a thing.
is one. All
Brandon,
we've had is
please.
basically a claim that the Steve
One
Torrance guy has come up
point
with a
to
model
Brandon,
that
please.
doesn't
One
Hold
work.
on, Adam.
And he's
Let Rumpus
Go on.
respond. We made him wait and
Right.
not interrupt and all that shit. Let him respond, then we'll go to you, Adam.
Right. So we just had Glean claiming that Steve Torrance has come up with a model that doesn't work. And he's then introduced these completely bogus concepts about spaces that are complete drivel. What he's got to do when he says the globe model doesn't, the globe model says that for every degree that going along the surface of the Earth, there will be change of 1 degree by every 69 miles. That requires there, if you don't have some strange refraction business, of there just being a spherical Earth of a particular radius. Now, when he said it doesn't work, when Gleam said that Steve said something doesn't work, He's invented a model that doesn't work. Okay, I don't care. He's
You
got to
didn't-
invalidate the
you've
globe
ignored the
model,
last part.
which says there has to be 1 degree
Are
to
you
69
God?
miles, and if there is, the only possible shape that delivers that is a sphere of a radius of
All right, shut the fuck up
6,361
now. That's enough of
miles.
that. You just
You think
breezed-
you're
you
God?
didn't address anything Gleam said. Go ahead, Adam.
I did. He came up with said Steve
Will you
John's got
just mute him for a second, just while I make the point here. My point was, we could carry on like this all night, letting Rumpus interrupt, obfuscate, or what he's doing at the moment, which is respectfully kind of lay himself on a cross and act retarded. He can't listen to what Gleam's just been said. But actually, there's some really good stuff here that some of you flat earthers may not know, but some of us do. And Zach, I've talked to, this has been a well-known and observed thing. This triangulation. It's one of the best bits of the globe claim. It's the only thing they've got that actually, if you push shit out to infinity, something makes sense in a standard orthographic sense, which is not reality. Now, what's being highlighted here is really good stuff.
Orthographic view is not reality.
Where's our level, Chai?
I'm shocked.
Go ahead, continue, Adam.
Thank you. What's being highlighted here is some really good stuff for you, Flat Earth. I mean, you can let the ballers try and come in because they're going to be scared of it, because this is the final bit. It's the only bit they've got. Okay? But what I'd like to point out is something we've admitted on day one, because we researched this shit. We looked at it. It's the final bit, and it really, really helps, because it's the final bit that finally points out with objective understanding of what you're purporting measurements to be, that absolutely buries the chance of a ball. But respectfully and admittedly, something we've known from a long time. It's your best thing, and that's why they're so scared, and that's why Gleam's not had one chance even to explain fundamentals, because they're too scared.
So-
I've done rambling now, but people should
In
listen.
Gleam's video, it shows the sun
dozens of
getting
papers in the
smaller
general,
and
by the way.
smaller as it disappears into the distance. That's not what we see in reality. Every time I've watched a sunset, the sun goes below the horizon. That is not what is shown in this model. That is not possible in this model, even if you add refraction in, as shown in 3 minutes 18 seconds.
What's the
on
timestamp?
video.
Name the
3:18.
timestamp, sorry.
Please. Can I just say
3:18.
something? Have you?
Yeah, hold on.
Hello?
Rob. Give me 1 second. 3 minutes, 18 seconds. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. Have you watched any of Dave Weiss's sunset videos?
Can explain that, by the way.
I have not, no.
You should.
Okay. WIS.
Please. Yeah, Dave Weiss, DITRH is the channel.
Oh.
WEISS.
He thinks South is down, dude.
But anyway, drink of
How about-
Kool-Aid. Have
how
you
about
actually watched the video?
Watch his sunset videos and then make a judgment. All right?
Okay, will do. Any specific one I should watch?
Go and fucking seek it out yourself if you're after truth, for fuck's sake.
I'll get. Yeah, well said. Pete. Well said. Pete.
Fuck's sake, though. And
Hey, I'm not watching any of your 9-hour
just on
videos
camera.
of you getting naked.
I've
and
got
not
a
talking to
response though,
anybody. Shut
drink
up.
of Kool-Aid.
You've seen
Drink
videos of me
Kool-Aid.
getting naked.
Yeah, I looked at
Drink
your
of
channel.
Kool-Aid.
Creepy.
Hey,
Did
what channel is that?
Drink of Kool-Aid. Sorry.
What's up?
Right, just to answer you before it gets lost in a debate of comparing dicks. But either way, you're 318. Now, can I just ask, did you just quickly skip through that video, or did you actually watch it and listen to what he was saying in the video?
To be honest, I've actually watched this video way more times than I care to admit in the last few days since I've seen you present it.
So you don't know the answer as to why the sun is bigger at that point. But
But
he
it's
does
not.
actually mention it. But it's not in
The
reality.
video.
I agree. That model is
Right.
wrong. And
Yeah,
he
the
admits
model-
it in
the
that
model's
video.
wrong.
Yeah, he admits it in that video. Do you know why?
Because
You've
his
watched it more than what you
basic-
can remember.
his basic
Stumbling over your words now, bud. You're
presupposition
not as
is
confident.
wrong.
Wait, no, sorry, wait there. You're just babbling words at the moment. Tell me
His
exactly.
basic presupposition that the Earth is flat is flawed.
No.
Oh, so
Why?
Huh?
Why? Because that is not the reason why he gives,
Because
and he
You're
shows.
saying the
Oh,
sun
sure.
should
That's
shrink
not the
to
reason.
nothing.
That's not the reason.
That's not
he
the reason
shows.
he gives, because he doesn't want to admit.
He doesn't know his own model that much, does he? No. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I'm just
But
saying.
it makes it work at the end of the video, doesn't he?
No, it doesn't actually.
Oh,
If
how?
you look,
Why? Why doesn't he do
because
that?
the sun is still above the horizon at all times.
No, it's not.
Except
for the observer.
Except for when he
Not-
pushes
not
it
for the
out
observer.
and actually stretches that flat plate into a dome structure.
You
That's the only
haven't
time he
actually
can-
researched this model, have you?
I mean,
Yeah.
other than watching what you posted.
Yeah, quickly doing a 2-second. I'm something that doesn't work. That I think. Yeah. Now, if you look in the
Okay.
chat, there's
So-
his new. There's his updated model, because you know when. I mean, if you've researched it, he's got like 3.12. I think it was his latest version in 2016. Before he moved over to the magnetic model, which is a completely separate one, but we'll get to next that. But anyway, what will happen, just to explain for the audience, in Steve's video, what I've just posted up there, he done a series on how star trails are explained with just refraction and the perspective set up correctly from the Earth and using a correct camera to match whatever the camera is used to take. Now, at the beginning, he shows and he talks you through it all, and he actually shows you him designing it and shows you him adding these generic add-ons which are built into the actual 3D Auto Max, I will say, so they're not just magic or anything like this. But he sets the camera, the aperture, and all the depth, let's say. Then he sets also this tick box, which basically says add standard refraction. Okay, that's it. And then by the end of the model, he said, and this is how we got it to work. We just added the basics of an actual camera in the lens instead of it being a computer generic lens, which is fully wide open. Yeah, we reduced the actual aperture, we zoomed in, and then we added refraction. And it got extreme on the horizon.
And then
as it
he
would.
actually pulls down the dome and forces it into a dome shape,
No, he
because
doesn't.
that's
No, he
what
doesn't.
he.
No, he
Would you
doesn't,
like
Mark.
the timestamp he does it at?
No, that is your misunderstanding
Okay.
again, because all he's doing is zooming. You can actually set these things up
I will
like
get the
cameras.
exact timestamp.
And that
from the
is
video
what
if you
naturally
like.
happens with a camera zoomed in on a telephoto lens. You know where it curves. You know, like how fisheye lenses work. It's similar, not as much.
Oh, so he programmed a fisheye lens in to get it to a
No,
10.
telephoto lens. Do you not?
Then why'd you
You're
say
not getting
fisheye?
this.
I'm
Because
sorry, I
it's
was listening
similar
to the words that were coming out
that's
of
the
your mouth.
extreme. Yeah,
I'll
that's
stop
the
doing that.
extreme. Yeah, you should listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, because you're making your own little story in your head to what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And you're making your own little story as to what the video's about. And you're making your own little story that you've actually watched it how many times? That's bullshit. You would have known that. Because he shows
That's
you
one
it.
particular model anyway, Gleam. What's the general point you're making, man? What are you saying? That the sun should always shrink away to a tiny dot over a flat plane? Is that what you...
Kango 24, amazing flat earthers using CGI to prove a point. I thought you guys hated CGI. Well, first of all, Gleam is presenting it, and he is not a flat earther. I don't think we hate CGI, but yes, CGI does not prove the world, especially when you show it to people and tell them it's reality and it's clearly CGI. So do you see that distinction there? If I show you something and say this is real and it's CGI, yeah, you might hate that.
You can cut through refraction with a solar filter. Are you begging? Are you begging?
He said this
Are
the
you
other day. I
begging
want one of these
someone to
solar
believe you?
filters. These amazing
Where's these
light
solar
unbending
filters
solar
that-
filters.
It's actually really cool. They if you look at a sextant,
They unbend light from thousands of miles away. Tell us.
Those squares on a sextant that are dark, those are sun shields. You drop them down in front, and it cuts through glare. Not hard.
You moron.
I mean-
It's like sunglasses. That'd be like having sunglasses that
yeah,
undo all the
reducing glare.
refraction as the light passes through the atmosphere. Do you understand how stupid that is?
Right.
You cut
because
down
that's
the
not at all
glare.
what I
That's all
said.
you cut down.
Glare.
Yeah, it is.
We agree. It cuts down glare.
But it doesn't cancel refraction, correct?
Okay. Who's talking about refraction?
Yes or no? Does it cancel out refraction?
We're talking about the sun appearing to get bigger because of glare
Yes.
at the horizon.
Does it reverse what happens in between you and the object that you're looking at?
Yeah.
It reduces the glare you see.
Does it cancel out what happens to the light between you and the object you're looking at? Yes or no?
If it canceled out the light, you wouldn't be able to see it anymore. So no. It would be like putting
You
a
see,
box on
now
your head.
you're going to be a little smartass and not answer the question. Why can't you just say no? Of course, it doesn't reverse the light bending through the atmosphere before it gets to me.
Why would it? It wouldn't do
That's
that.
all I've been
There's
asking
no reason
you.
it would. Right.
Okay.
Well, it would
Nobody's ever
change,
said that.
though. It would change the refraction though, because you're
Look in the
changing light.
general. Look in the general. That's
Right.
what it does.
Right. Can I make a point here, which is very sort of
You're
significant?
saying that's not reality when it is reality.
Can I make a point, please, Gleam? And over a flat surface, right, and we're looking into the distance, what appears to be the horizon in that image you posted, Gleam, is not the horizon. We understand we're dealing with water and light, and one of the basic properties of water is its reflective abilities. As we scale the z-axis, I'm speaking to drink the Kool-Aid here, the ball earther, just to consider. As we scale the z-axis appropriately, as we're looking out, well, then this apparent horizon will be understood to be just an apparent horizon, and beyond that, everything is crunched up, the water is crunched up so much, it reflects the sky beyond. So this is, in fact, what the sun is disappearing beyond at full size. It doesn't need to shrink, although the sun has been shown to shrink somewhat in more drier climes. Remember, closer it is to ground level, the more atmosphere, or water particularly, you're looking through. You understand that? No.
I know that every time I've looked through my sextant with the correct solar filters on, the sun has been the same size.
Right.
I mean, if you can argue that, I would be interested to hear it.
Well, for instance, if you say it's been the same size, if you are trying to tell me that the sun is 1 million miles across, well, you want to get your measurements exactly on, because if you're out by even a fraction of a degree, you're talking about a matter of thousands of miles.
Can I ask him a question about how he measured the sun through his eyepiece?
Yeah, I would love to talk
I'd like to
about
hear
it.
that. Go on.
How did you measure it with your eye?
The way that you do it with a sextant is you find your astronomical body, whether it's the sun or a star, and you use what's known as a split mirror lens, where what you're seeing is actually a split view. Half of it shows the horizon, half of it shows what you're trying to observe, such as the sun. And as you bring, like Brenda was saying earlier, as you bring the sun down to the horizon until it's just kissing the horizon, as you rock back and forth, and the reason you rock back and forth is to make sure you don't have any misaligned mirrors. You can tell you've done it correctly if the horizon stays flat. If it's wrong, you'll get a stair step in your optic.
Okay, how does that answer the question as to how you were able to determine the size of the sun?
The question, what you do is you cut the sun in half with your mirror, right? So half of it is seen, and you end up putting it at the same points in your vision every time.
And you take an angle
Okay,
measurement.
Hold on a second.
You take an angle measurement.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Hold on a second. So you took an angle measurement. Was there any lines or measurements inside the eyepiece to determine the size?
No, because that's not important.
But everybody knows
Hang
that
on, please. To what degree?
Everybody knows
not
measuring
important.
half
No,
of something
it's not-
is
hold on a
easier
second.
than measuring one of something, isn't it? Eh? Why would you say that? You're just addressing the point, as Trevor said, about how do you measure the size of the sun, and your answer was, I don't measure the size of the sun. I measure half the size of the sun.
Right.
How does that qualify? How does that qualify how you measured it? You just
Does
said
the sun not appear to be circular? If I cut it in half, could I not mirror that and get an exact circle?
The sun only appears to be circular. Go look at the sun from high altitude balloon footages above the
Hold on a
interference.
second.
hard time.
Far from circular.
Hold on a second.
I'm having a. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Wait, right. Well, it's just you're saying you're cutting the sun in half.
Right.
But, so you're saying each time you look at it, it's the same size, but you haven't determined how you know it's the same size because you have no measuring apparatus inside the eyepiece or some other apparatus to determine if it's a different size. It's your best guess that you think is the same size, but you truly don't know.
And that was my point. Okay. That if the sun is 1 million miles across and you're out by even a fraction of the degree,
It's not, that's not relevant.
Pete, shut up. Nobody cares.
The distance is not relevant at this point.
I will agree somewhat. My eyes are not perfect measuring devices. I could not tell if it was 0.00001 off. I'll give you that. My eyes aren't good enough.
About 0.1 off, not 0.001. 0.1.
Probably not.
Point made. Go ahead, continue. Point made, continue.
So you're right. My eyes aren't good enough to get that exact distance. However, it is, you still use the same landmarks. I actually have a nick on my mirror that
Oh my God! You're
what a
spouting
fucking
bullshit.
fake!
This is
What a
bullshit,
fake! Saying
dude.
nothing at all and clear your throat.
A fucking bullshitter right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
There'll be no ballers allowed left on the show. It just fucking ruins the conversation. These people are fucking
yes,
idiots.
we should listen to you more.
Well, listen, you can't answer one of my damn
questions. The world being 400 years
You
old.
contradict yourself as well, right?
Tell us
You
about the
recently made a
world being
show out,
400 years
so-
ago. Years old, Pete.
I have a question. What would you regard the sun to do on a flat Earth?
The same thing it does right now, you dope.
It moves. The sun moves, not the Earth.
Just fucking moves.
But it would not be cut off from bottom, right? It would vanish into a point, right? Until you cannot see it.
Yeah, sometimes it does. In certain climates, listen. In
Yeah,
certain,
but then it depends on the
listen,
climate.
You're not
right?
listening. You're not listening.
I'm listening. I already listened to you. You said it already. I'm faster
Okay.
in listening than you are, right?
Awesome. Good. What did I say then? Go ahead.
So you misrepresented what it actually does.
No.
right?
What did I say? If you said you listened, what did I say?
You said it does what it's supposed to do on a flat Earth, but it doesn't.
No.
Right?
I went on.
That is not what it's
listen.
doing.
I
right?
said, okay, are you ready? I said in certain climates, it does disappear into a point.
But then it's the atmosphere what does that, not the sun, not the
that's
perspective.
right. That's
Holy shit!
Then you cannot.
Penny finally dropped.
Then you cannot milk out anything of that because it's the atmosphere in between, right?
There you go.
Then you have
Got
no
it.
point in that. Right?
Either do you.
Okay,
Don't you see how
why
that
you-
you just
why
nullified
you
your supposed falsification of the model with a sunset? Obviously, the atmosphere is impacting it.
I'm
On your
asking you,
model, isn't
what-
it said that
what would it do?
that the sun sets
Well, I
before
want to understand.
we still see the sun after it sets behind the physical horizon? Isn't that correct on your model?
I want to understand your model. That's why I was
Is
asking.
that correct? Yes or no?
I was asking for your model.
No.
not for mine.
Just answer my question, and then I'll tell you how it works on my model. Yes or no?
Provide your model. Provide your model.
When the
I asked
sun
first,
sets
right?
on the globe Earth model, I'll tell you about it then. When the sun sets on the globe Earth model, we see it after it is actually set beyond the physical horizon, in case you didn't know that. And it's refracted. So what we're seeing when we see a sunset in your model is a refracted image of the sun. Now, on the flat Earth model, guess what we're seeing when it looks like it terminates into the ground and gets cut off bottom first? A refracted image. That's it. There we go.
So you would not say that it has to vanish into a point, right?
It can. It's sometimes, like Travis said, we have different observations of the sunset and it looking in different ways. There's lots of variables involved.
So
And
then
the
it
atmosphere
means
you can't get
there's
rid of.
There's no consistent view of any sunsets at all.
There's
on
no
your flat Earth,
consistent
right?
view of a sunset, correct? Because, well,
on either model.
consistent on a micro scale. On a macro scale, the sun goes away from you and then you can't see it anymore and you can't see the light, right?
Listen,
But on a micro scale, when you're zooming in and watching the sun go away from you at its furthest point away from you, yes, that observation changes, and we have different observations of what it does at that point.
Brandon, irrespective of whether you think we live on a ball or it's flat, right? Does anybody out there claim that there's a consistent sunset? That's the level of your argument. No, well, that's what's being presented to us here. We've got to argue some consistent sunset. This is nonsense.
Yeah,
I agree. Very, very
consistent illusion.
Doo-doo.
Well, it would migrate throughout the year to the east and the west as the sun gets closer to the North Pole or away from the North Pole. So you'd have sunsets that would vary throughout the year.
Something's going on at the North Center.
What about the
moving up
fact
and
that there
down to give us the seasons, round and round to give us the daily skylights, and in and out to give us the monthly moon phases?
What about the fact that they're so concerned about the not actual size of the sun, changing its not actual size when it changes its not
actual position? Yeah, but imagine if all of that mysticism with it. If you just cut it in half, all of that's undone. You can understand its not its actual size, its actual position. I just cut it in half. That's what I think.
No, not just that. There is a technical notch, I do believe, is involved.
A little nick on my mirror.
A nick on the mirror. And that nick, that cannot be a millimeter wrong.
Hey, to be fair, that's not technical. That's mine personal. That's one of my cheats I use for myself. That's not the technical answer. And I apologize if I made it sound like it was. That is a personal thing.
So it's a hack.
That was the cherry on the top.
A good way to put it.
Dude, that was the cherry on the top. It was the full knickerbocker glory underneath that we just described, not your little nick that we were taking the mick out of. Yeah, your little nick's just hilarious that you thought you could validate that pile of shit with a little nick on your mirror that made it make sense.
No, Adam, you want to know how I validated it?
No,
do you want to know?
Yeah, you tried to with a little nick on your mirror.
Here's how I validated.
That's why we're laughing.
Here's how I validated. Adam,
am I lost?
The way I validated it was I showed up in the correct port I was aiming at.
That was it. That was it.
Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah, that's really precise.
You see?
Destiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm sorry.
God got you there. There was no way that nick of the mirror doing it. Yeah, God got you there. Definitely. There was no way that little notch saved your life. What?
There's no God. And if there is,
I have got a notch that says you are wrong.
Ooh, someone's got a little beef against the Almighty.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that we know that he is an atheist.
Anybody who would let children suffer and die, I think is a bitch.
I love that. I love that one. But
you're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar.
Anyone that
likes liars.
What's that?
What other standards do you have we should know about?
Anyone that'll talk that much shit so that they don't have to deal with the cog diss that if there is
I don't like that.
They've got to look at themselves. It's quite interesting. It's weak.
You guys are literally arguing for sick kids right now. Just
yeah.
If you want to keep
welcome to the United States fucking FDA and the CDC. Yeah, your United States government kills children and people all the time.
Well, no, this guy doesn't believe that. There's no conspiracies in these people's
Get out.
land.
No, I'm telling you to be consistent with your own standards.
Yeah, we don't want you here. Get out.
Hey, Kool-Aid, how about the unborn ones? Do you care
So
about
you're
that?
promoting that?
It's a good question, Ganja just asked.
Do you care about the unborns? Hey, answer the question, please.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
I would, in a theoretical. Are we
What about the corona
Are we
What do you
talking
mean
about?
theoretical?
Are
you
hold on.
concerned about the unborn babies?
Hold on, let him
The
answer.
question is-
Let him answer.
My question is, do you mean the unborn babies as in pregnancies or unborn babies as in 4 generations from now?
Pregnancies.
Pregnancies.
Then yes, I care about that.
Oh, okay. Well, unborn babies in general, they're not babies. They're nothing. Why would you say that?
They are life.
Because they are who are going to take care of me when I'm old and shitting a diaper.
Yeah, but they don't exist yet.
So
Okay.
self-interest. I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Kool-Aid, I don't think we're meaning to beat up on you, but you do seem to have an agenda in here. I don't know what it is.
Come in
yet,
with boxing
but
gloves on and a big chin.
it's a little strange.
More a very, very sad worldview, and I pity you for it from what you've just described of yourself and how you view others and what they could do for you, and why you would, more importantly, why you would do something for other people.
Yeah, the betterment
It's
of
sad.
society
It's sad,
and
I hope you know
the
there's a bit
betterment of
healing
society
come on.
rather than a selfish motivation that I might prosper. I can see how you would think that's a bad thing.
Try and defend it all you like.
I mean, the only reason you behave well in your
Don't
opinion is because
you don't even know
you
why
are
you
afraid.
couldn't even guess as to why I behave well. But thank you for the compliment. That
Oh,
I
bet
do.
it's because you
But
want to
we're not
either
talking
A,
about
go to
me
heaven or
behaving.
B,
We're
scared
not
of hell.
talking about me
That's it.
behaving well. We were talking about your sad, pathetic view of your life and how you view other human beings.
That's the
which you
wildest.
showed.
That's the wildest straw man you could ever come up with. You're just
I'm
totally
an
making
nihilist,
shit
what's
up.
the point?
You're just totally making shit up about somebody that you have no idea that you can even verify.
Yeah, so if there's no God, why does anything matter? I mean, what's the standard for that's really sick? What you said that if there's a God, it's sick that he's letting babies suffer and die. If
Right.
there's no God, why is that sick? Because there is no
Because
standard.
those individuals don't deserve that. They did
But
nothing
according to
wrong.
who? According to who?
Tell me what the little baby who born with bone cancer did wrong.
Why does it matter if there's no God?
Yeah, it seems like you don't understand the
Because
story.
I
of,
want
it
to reduce
seems like-
suffering. I think
It seems
suffering in
like-
the world is a
right,
bad thing.
Right. Okay, great. So do you know the Christian story for why there's suffering in the world?
Yes,
What is it?
because there's sin.
Okay, but why? Yeah, right. Why? What did God do?
God allowed sin to come into the world.
Okay, do you not know? Can you not answer the direct question? How I have to keep asking you for
Yeah.
more details.
Yeah. The Christian story, from my understanding, is that God set up a place that he knew would result in it being bad, then started everything in motion, and then got really upset when things turned out the way that he knew it was going to be. So he sacrificed himself to himself so that you could prosper,
Okay, stop.
but he already knew what was going to happen.
Stop.
So
It's not about prospering.
Okay, stop. Okay, listen.
Travis,
stop.
it's not about
listen.
prospering.
No, I know. Listen, you're convoluting again your emotional reaction to this story. Okay, so
we'll tell you what. Why don't you unmute
Basically-
Brenda and I'll shut up.
sure, I was talking.
Oh, you're
You're
roboting,
roboting.
Travis. You're roboting.
Why don't you
Brenda.
guys unmute Brenda and I'll shut up?
Why would we want to unmute Brenda? We're having a good conversation with you,
Nutshell.
and that's going to end if we unmute Brenda.
I
You guys hear
enjoyed
me
that
all right?
because that was like listening to Cartman explain Islam.
He is kind of on the spot against, I guess, theists or people that are, I guess, pro-theist, quasi-pro-theism-ish.
Most flat earthers I know are fundamentalist, Bible-believing Christians like you, Lemon.
Hey, not me. Can I come back? Can you hear me now?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
I do definitely that by saying most.
Okay,
Get out.
so
Travis is a right fundy. He's proper fundy.
But you would probably...
Listen, hold on, just real quick. Okay, so basically, look, God created a world in which the alleged two human beings that he created had free will. He said, if you choose the right, you will live. If you choose the wrong, death will ensue. They chose wrong. These are the consequences. There you go.
as he created them to do, because he is omnipotent, so he already
Okay,
knew
listen.
what choice they were going to
Listen.
make. Thereby,
Listen.
they had no
Okay,
choice.
okay.
Hey, no
again,
offense,
again,
guys. Travis, no offense. I really don't want to turn this into a religious argument, if you guys don't mind.
I agree, Brandon. I'll shut up. I apologize.
Hey, I did want to ask you, Kool-Aid, what is your motivation for coming into this community? Are you here to save souls or what? Because a lot of Globers think they're on some kind of mission from, I don't know, science or something to help people find their way out of something they think is a cult. Is that one of you? Is that you?
You know, that's a really good question. I believe my motivation has changed over the time I've been in this community. I'm not sure I can pinpoint a single reason I'm here. Part of it is it started out as I enjoyed pointing and laughing at the funny. And then it got to the point where I was getting so emotionally worked up by some of the stupid I was hearing, I felt the need to step in and correct it. Plus, it gives me a chance to talk about sailboats. Nobody else wants to sit and talk about sailboats for hours and hours and hours, but I can force you guys to do it.
Kool-Aid, we all know, most of us here know why you're here. And when you're ready, son, we're here for you because we're good people.
Now
and
you're
I don't want
presupposing-
anything from you. I don't
wait,
want you
hold
to
on. You're
wipe my
presupposing
arse.
what I'm
I don't want
doing,
you to wipe
even
my arse
after
when
you-
I'm older. And just know that genuinely, however you want to ridicule us, whatever, when you're ready, and that's why you're here, we're here for you, son.
I just want to point out, Adam, you gave me shit for presupposing your motives and then turned around and did the exact same thing. Thank you.
Just that I'm here for you.
No,
Whatever
you said,
motive. We
I
can
know
help.
why you're here.
I do, let's be honest. Why else would you be hanging around a flat earth forum? Unless you're clinically insane that you hang around with stuff that you don't agree with, right? And you love winding yourself up. Or, as Brandon was saying, you're on some godforsaken message to salvate everyone from something that you don't believe exists because there is no salvation. I'm lost as to why you are here, unless really you're trying to work through this pain with us. And the easiest way is to do it this way, isn't it? As you figure it out. But like I said, we're here for you, bro. We're here for you.
I do learn a lot in these communities, both from both sides of the argument and from listening to myself, because you guys talk about things that I've never even bothered looking into because I was a normal person, right? And normal people don't look into the shit we talk about in here. Let's be serious.
That's true.
Well, I have a question about something that you just mentioned. You said you got tired of hearing some of the stupid and it felt you had to correct it. I got a question for you.
Sure.
Does the idea of planes flying backwards, does that sound stupid to you?
I've actually seen that happen.
Every
so
plane, every plane that flies west. Does the idea of every plane that flies west is actually flying backwards, does that sound stupid to you?
yes, that sounds very stupid to me.
Well, that's your
Hey,
paradigm. You understand that? You have
I don't mean
believed
to-
that happened.
I mean, no,
I don't-
but okay. Good try.
Hey guys, we can pick this up in a minute. We do have a special guest. Tommy Salami is here to school us all. Tommy, what do you have to say for yourself? Tommy, now's your chance.
No, that was it.
Yeah, whisper sweet nothings to us.
Come on. You don't want to give yourself away, Tommy? That's all right. Maybe some other time, Tommy.
Yes, maybe some other time, Gumbo.
Well, I think the flat earth represents for these people an easy way to dispel what they see as misinformation. They're like, if science is so sacrosanct and so correct, why can't they correct the flat earth fallacy? But perhaps the flat earth is true, and the scientific edifice is built on a house of cards.
Did you just read that off a 3x5 card that you wrote down?
Or perhaps some just don't.
The mind of, I guess, God,
Or perhaps
as it
some,
were, although I'm not God.
or
To
perhaps
your
some just don't
mind.
care, right?
Lemon ringer.
That's why.
It's like an intro to Tales of the Unexpected. It was weird. Can you read it again? Because it was actually quite cool as well.
From God's lips to mine, I am simply the prophet of flatness. That is all.
Are you a writer, Lemon?
I love it.
Like it. I love it.
I write down stuff occasionally.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, this is freestyle, baby.
This is just a sample of the content of my book coming out soon
You got a book?
on shelves.
Cool.
Ooh.
You and Data should get together. You guys can go on promotional tours.
My last one was a New York Times bestseller.
All right.
I think Rumpus called it riveting stuff. He called it an utter, utter, utter treasure. I was moved.
Don't listen to Rumpus. He's a liar.
Yeah, I'd get a peer review on that one. I'm joking.
Who paid him
I'm
to say that?
joking. Apparently, he knows better grammar than me, so I must back down.
I can't believe he said that. Jesus Christ, Rumpus.
He says that every time he gets in a corner. I put him in the corner with his little D hat on, and he's there going, how else can I ruin him? Oh, that's it. I remember I was brought up in a posh area with posh parents. Gleam was brought up in an area where there's guns and violence and knives.
I'm not having it, right, Gleam. I'm not having it that his Middle English, which was introduced particularly by the German royal family, is correct English. You shove it up his arse. He don't talk proper like what I do, and we were here years before the Germans. So, yeah,
exactly.
Well, I got a question for you, Brits.
Got the proper English.
Yeah, we don't have like. Do we have that in the United States where like the upper class has a certain accent? That seems so weird.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Frat boys.
Absolutely. If you watch the old school like Betty Davis and all those listen to the old movies from the 40s. That's the accent you're looking for.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Like a New York Times editor accent.
Yeah, something like that. Massachusetts, it's all up there. It's that New England posh. Yeah, New England posh for sure.
Sounding similar to Madonna after she got her millions.
Doesn't it make you want to punch someone in the face when they talk like that, though? It's just like, I don't know. Maybe it was my lowly upbringing. It just irritates me to the core.
It's a way to symbolize that you're beyond region or dialect. The rich have to be a trend-setting class that is way above the fray and traditional ways of speaking and being.
I think.
Can we get off of the topic of Rumpus, please?
Gleam. No, Gleam, because the final point on this, that Rumpus picks you up on his, and this is English, kind of disgusting civil behaviour, but in terms of your behaviour, his would sit in the middle class. Yeah, we would be classed as lower class, but Rumpus doesn't talk upper class. Orf. We would be talking orfs like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Rumpus's
the next level above Rumpus
accent snobbery is actually an admission that he sits in the middle class and not in the upper class. So I don't know why you would boast that you're basically not the hardworking, just the ignorant middle classes.
Well, the upper crust has always tried to symbolize that they're apart from the others in various ways, white creams to symbolize that they're not outside working with the plebs, foreign ideas that most people cannot afford to have, like heliocentrism, or things like diversity is our strength, when everybody who's thinking knows that diversity is a source of contention and weakness. Things like that that symbolize that they're above petty concerns and can afford to have otherwise strange and impractical beliefs because they can be shielded from the consequences of them with their wealth, power, prestige, and money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Rumpus admits he sits under that with that accental snobbery that he just portrayed. His accent, as he attacked ours, is not one of the upper classes. It's one of the middle classes. Yeah, one of the sheeple, not one of the rebels underneath, like he accuses of. Which I'll take that title. I've had people slag my accent off all my life as I've worked through stuff. I don't give a flying shit how I sound. You should listen to what I'm saying, you ignorant fool.
I haven't heard you say a thing
Quick though,
yet.
karma does happen though, and I will say it happened to Tom Cruise, because he had his 100 grand bimmer nicked on the week just yesterday, I think, in Birmingham.
100 grand what?
BMW.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, someone, it's a big technology in Birmingham, especially at the moment, with unlocking cars without having the key. They can do it in under sort of like 30 seconds.
That's popular here in
the car
Detroit
away.
too.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a happy medium. I mean, when you become rich, all of a sudden people start hitting you up for cash and stuff like that, and it's hard to know who isn't trying to, get some of your money or not. So you do kind of, stay away from, other people to actually be able to, have that cash without being harassed and stuff. So it's understandable. That's why I appreciate people like a Donald Trump. The people, love him because he's so down to earth, but the rich people hate him. They're like, he's nouveau riche, or he's not one of us and isn't willing to dissolve his country for globalism and for Satan or whatever. So it's like he strikes a very interesting happy medium between everyday people and these, commoner hating elites.
He was the perfect
I'm more
character for
empathized
the
with
zeitgeist
Joe
at
Biden,
that time.
Yeah.
Say that again, Adam?
Sitting there helpless. I'm just saying I empathise more with Joe Biden, sitting there, kind of hopeless and not able to really affect change in the world. I empathise more with him as a political leader.
Waiting for the nurse to come by to change his nappy. Yeah, it's tough.
Come on, guy.
Joe.
Sorry, but that guy, how the hell can anybody think that guy is leading the country? I mean, come on, man.
Well, it's
politics,
easier
but
than the
that guy's a joke.
alternative, admitting that our election was stolen and that the American people's voice has been effectively silenced by 10 or 12 or 20 mail-in ballots per person.
Right. If there's a way to cheat, anybody who thinks there wasn't cheating is so fucking naive. If you leave the door wide open like that for cheating, and you think the people who are zealots who will do anything to win aren't going to take the opportunity, you're a fool.
Yeah, the Democrats are known for cheating, but they're trying to push their history onto the other party, their history of racism, cheating, perfidy in general.
They have. I think secret ballots are another inconsistency in morality. We want openness and safety and transparency. Why the fucking secret ballots?
Or even the contention against voting or voter ID. They say, "Oh, racism," and I'm like, "Shut up! You need a ID for everything." All of a sudden, it's racist to get a freaking ID. They just don't want us to see all the illegals that are coming over and voting.
Why don't they just mail everybody a vial or 2 vials of the vaccine or any boosters, send them the paperwork, and then we'll get all the vaccinations done very quickly, and everybody will be up to date. Why don't we just do that?
That's a great
400 million people vaccinated in a country of 300 million. I had a video of a dissection of a brain after the death jab, and it was just like blood clot central. It looked like there was a huge section of blood clot jelly in the middle of the brain. I don't know if it's real or fake, but I'll put it in the chat and let you guys decide.
Is this the
There's
one
a
you and I
lot
went
of
through, Lemon?
misinformation on both sides out there. You got to be really careful, but
Looks like the New World Order took a dump on that dude's brain.
It's not the New World Order anymore. It's the Great Reset.
Lemon,
Yeah,
do you remember
great
when you and I went through this exact post? We spent like 2 hours with you. You want to
What
tell the rest of it?
Before you go into
You're
that
here.
detail, guys,
Enlighten
I'd
us.
be. Can I just speak from a professional level on that? I'm not poo-pooing this. I don't want to bring it or decry. I find things like that very strange when I see them posted. Yet what I don't see is the mass or lack of mass reporting of the statistics of the real side effects, which were encouraged, should be encouraged. This system seems to have disappeared. It doesn't seem effective. But there are lots of not obscene images like that you'll see. But there's lots of stuff out there that should be reported, even down to affected menstruation rates. Yeah, real serious stuff that in any clinical trial should be objectively documented and observed. And in the biggest clinical trial that in human history, I don't see that happening. And I think that's probably more important than scare stories like that.
I heard a story just yesterday about a guy that his mom died within 24 hours of getting the shot, and her doctor and him both requested an autopsy, and they refused to do it on her, and then he had to pay to get it done himself, and they listed the death as like failure to thrive. And there's documents showing him or her out hiking and doing all kinds of stuff. So there's, for some reason, they don't want to touch it. Nobody wants to touch it.
They talk about the graphene oxide being in the vaccination, basically being an interface for nanotech and stuff. That might be leading to the clotting because your body's like, what's all this graphene oxide doing inside of me? Attack it, kill it. But it might be attacking and killing the host.
We can't find those things out, but as just previously said, we can, if we're put in those horrible situations, demand answers as to why you refused, and put these people under pressure who are clearly under an alternative pressure. What I say to you, this is not right. What's going on? This is not how medics behave, and how they would passionately or compassionately behave historically. So what is stopping that? And I would turn your focuses there, because that might lead to more short-term changes other than wondering about what graphene can do if they put it in the Evian now, or this, that, and the other. They're things, but real things. That life. All you can do is put a complaint in to the medical council. Why did this doctor not give me this peace of mind? What medical reasons? Ask them to explain their decisions, because what they're not doing is that, and that pressure needs to be put by all the public on the medical professions right now, myself included.
I think they don't care as long as you have the graphene injection. You'll become more and more magnetic. And if you survive the clotting, you will be reborn at the transhuman machine revolution.
What really bothers me is a year
Magneto.
ago, people were getting canceled off of different platforms for asking certain questions. They were just bringing up certain subjects. And now it's perfectly fine in the mainstream press to say the same things. The things they were asking about are coming true. It's always the same story. This, speech suppression. Anyway.
This lady, I forget her name, Carrie Kingston or something. She says she's a former Pfizer employee, and she says it's in the vaccine, but it's not labeled since graphene oxide is toxic. Supposedly, she shows patents and stuff pointing toward it actually being in there, just not labeled. And there's another nun. I think her name's Carrie Burner. She talks about being targeted when she came out about the abuses she suffered as a nun. And she says that she has the lab results and the test results showing that high grade nanotechnology was being sprayed on her and on her property and stuff like that. She says that when she did a detox to get the stuff out of her body, crystals were coming out of her hair and different things like that. I'll see if I can put her video about her experience with this sort of stuff.
All right. Well, we better change this subject before our overlords here, so we can talk about this in about 50 minutes. Anyway. Well, I think Brenda wanted to ask you a question, Gleam. Do you want to field a question from Brenda? Up to you.
Panel, because I've just said to her, she called me a moron yesterday or something, because I cited that paper about photographs and she basically said, she come back to me, that's about lens distortion, you moron. And literally it says in the paper, in the opening paragraph, lens distortion is beyond the scope of this paper as that's too complex to discuss. And she's calling me a moron on it, so I don't really want to engage with that.
You don't need to, because what? It's not Brenda, is it? It's Ellen of I forget the name of that place. The other place,
Cyrene,
the other side of Alexandria. I forget the name of that place.
Someone walked there without a bridge or something.
Yeah. It wasn't me that forgot my own name. It was Brenda, weren't it? So I won't worry, mate. I won't waste your time either.
That's a different city.
Same pronunciation. I just found it funny, Brenda.
It's a different city.
I'm sorry to be so
mean, you know.
And so, Gleam, yes, you're right. The paper is not about lens distortion.
Whoa.
And I'm sorry I called you a moron.
So what I wanted to ask Gleam is about...
she expects me
and
to
I'm
engage
sorry
with that.
I called you a moron.
And I'm sorry I called you a moron.
I accept your apology, Travis. I accept your apology. Thank you.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit, Brenda.
All right, go ahead. Ask your
I wanted to ask a question about the sun setting over a flat Earth video that you posted, right, from Steve's channel, right? Do we remember all the way back to that?
Are you being condescending? You didn't apologize.
No, I'm not being.
You're being
condescending.
sarcastic. You're insulting other people, and then you still want a fucking answer. You dirty little scumbag.
That wasn't condescending. That was a long time ago. It was like over
you
an
carry
hour
on.
ago.
You ask your question. Let us all laugh.
So if you just don't want me to ask the question, I'll just be quiet then. You're afraid?
He's panicking.
You decided that you wanted to do Brenda,
So the question is why?
Amen. Everybody. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So Gleam, in that photo,
this little
Travis, you're awesome, bro.
Gleam, what was Steve trying to do in that video?
Was it the robot?
Nothing. There we go.
The video
he was
labeled,
succeeding in doing it. That's what a video is. It's evidence of you succeeding to do something.
You gave it as evidence of sunsetting on a flat Earth. It's labeled flat Earth, sunsetting, Los Angeles. You remember that, right? And you said that was evidence of sunset on a flat Earth, right?
No, I said it's a model of it.
It's a model of the flat Earth.
How it works on a flat Earth.
That is false. It is not.
Well, it's not a model of the flat Earth he made.
That is correct. He had a flat plane and a curved plane, in which he had a sun move down. He wanted to see how the reflections were. He is not trying to model the flat Earth at all.
You are
but you
incorrect.
No, no.
You are incorrect. Where do you get your information from, Brenda? Because he is a modeler of the flat Earth. He's literally FE core. Been doing it from 2014 to 2016. I watched him and engaged with him. So where's your evidence? Show me some evidence that it's not a flat Earth when it blatantly says flat Earth model, and his whole channel's about a flat Earth. But fair to you, he does have comparisons because he's also done a globe Earth model as well. Yes, but they are all labelled globe Earth.
I'll tell you
model.
where I got it from. I got
Go
it
on.
from his text in the video, which says this will be part of a series showing the sun setting over flat water and curved water. Curved water may not be possible in reality, but it may be done in CGI to see how the rays reflect off a curved surface in comparison to a flat surface. So he's
what
not
part
even
of that says to you that that's the globe Earth and not the flat Earth when it's labelled
I
flat
didn't
Earth?
say it's not either. It's not either of them.
Wow.
He just
it's
wants
not
to
either
see
now.
She's got
That's
a run
right.
for tears on, hasn't she?
He
Got
wants
run
to
for tears
see.
on,
So
rumpy
he
ears.
started off with a flat Earth model. Okay,
Who's
so
the
he didn't
leader?
use the flat Earth model,
Who's the
and
leader?
he didn't use the globe Earth model,
That's
and he showed
correct.
you his model. How has he done it then?
It's quote to see how the rays reflect off a curved surface
Yes.
in comparison to
you
a
missed
flat surface.
You missed the bit before. It said this is going to start a series of videos.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Showing the sun setting over flat water and curved water.
Okay, so what makes you think when he's put flat Earth, sun setting on a flat Earth, what makes you think that that actually is a globe Earth?
Do you have
what,
a model?
What evidence do you have?
Do you
No,
have a
no,
model?
I need to see your evidence, you lying scumbag.
You want me to answer? You want me to answer?
I don't need slaving. I love her clocking.
Do you want me to
Listening
answer or
to
not?
sociopathic
Be quiet, Travis.
You
Be
can't
quiet,
answer.
Travis.
You can only lie.
I can't because I'm being
This
talked
person-
over.
Together.
This person is an
I'm being
absolute
talked over. Allow me to answer.
Brenda,
Yeah,
and
psychological
action.
warfare.
I'm not being allowed to
Action.
answer. I'm being shouted down. So
I'm not
the
shouting.
answer,
I'm just
the answer
describing
is
you for what it is.
Yeah, whatever.
the
Brenda,
answer
you lie.
is does the flat Earth model include the sun going below the disk of the Earth?
Yes.
No, it does
Brenda,
not.
people aren't-
No,
people
not below
aren't
the disk of
thinking
the
that.
Earth. Apparently
Nobody
below the
thinks-
horizon.
Nobody in flat Earth thinks the sun goes below
Apparently
the
it
surface of the
does.
Earth.
Apparently
Why do
it
you
does.
keep bringing up a flat Earth
Because of
model? We don't
perspective.
have one.
Because that's Steve does, and that's the one Gleam is talking
Yep.
about.
Well,
Did
go and
you
get your
hear the
evidence. Go and
answer,
ask him
Brenda?
whether that's a flat Earth or a globe Earth, and then come
It's
back with your
neither.
evidence that that's a globe. No,
It's
you go and
neither.
ask him.
It's a
Go and ask
curved-
him. I guarantee it's a flat Earth.
It's a curved
Guarantee
surface and it's a curved surface
No, I
and a
guarantee it.
flat surface.
Brenda,
Okay,
I
what-
guarantee it. Go and ask him and get your evidence because
Look,
you're
why are we
lying.
not respecting this for the two demonstrations that it's providing? I don't know why there's contention or shooting the messenger here.
It's a curved surface. It's a curved because
It's
it
not.
shows
It's
Gleam
not.
to be a liar.
It's not. It says
shows
the
Gleam to be a
Earth setting
liar.
on a flat Earth. He's designed a flat Earth model, and he's showing it
not.
on a flat Earth. It is.
Glenn
Gleam-
acting
Gleam-
the game.
What he did-
Desperate to
It is, you're lying.
to turn the conversation.
Here's what he did. Let me
Brenda,
explain.
it's
Let me
pathetic.
explain what he
It's
did.
How would you know? How would you know?
Explain.
I watched him
I
for
can
2
understand
years.
it.
How long have you
Well,
seen
you're
him?
a moron. So what he
no,
did
I'm
is
a
he
moron
said,
again.
Yes.
Again. Oh, again because of your mistake.
And a liar.
Oh
He
yeah,
set up a
yeah,
sun-
of course.
He set up a sun
No,
object.
rubbish.
So
Absolute
he set up,
rubbish.
He set up a sun
Absolute
object.
rubbish.
Are you going to talk over me? Can I?
Yes, because you're talking absolute
He set up
rubbish.
a
You're
sun
lying.
object.
I've
He
got to
set
stop
up
Guys,
this.
no one can hear anything. No one can hear anything.
Brenda, I'll talk to you. I don't know what they're saying,
I
but
just
you're at
want
least
to-
trying to say something.
Yeah,
I just
go
want to
a
say
different group.
what he did is he created a sun object in the program. He created a flat plane and a curved plane, and then he textured them, added his
plane and a curved
atmospheric
plane.
model, and then he had the sun
You're wrong.
move down vertically, and then
Show
he
me.
filmed the
Show me.
results.
Show me.
That's what the image.
Show
That's
me.
what the video shows.
No, it doesn't. Show me.
doesn't
Show me where you got that
prove
information
either.
from.
Guys,
It
guys,
doesn't
guys,
prove
guys.
either.
What that provides, let's respect the limits of what that data shows us. There's nothing to fight
Show me
about.
it. No, show me it, Brenda, because you
it's
just
the
made up a
video.
whole story there, and show me it.
Show
Show me
us.
where you got that information from.
Go off, and then
Just
you can
watching
come
the
back
video.
when you bring it back. Thanks, Brenda.
Gleam, Brenda's just basically claiming there that what this long-term old school flat earther has done, and in his comparative study, even though claiming the ball is claiming it's it's flat, he's gone, oh no, it's a ball, but he's hidden it in there, and Brenda's wholeheartedly trying to claim that it's pathetic that you waste 20 minutes
It's
on a good
hilarious.
point. So Brenda just to claim it was a proof of a ball, then admit that actually what you've got is a comparative between the two, that somebody's bothered to render the two things to prove how flat it is, and then when challenged on that, she's not able to bring the comparison to demonstrate her point that it's a ball,
Adam.
because the bloke's going to show it's flat.
No, I've just posted it in the general, and I wish you'd load it up, please, Brandon, because I've just got to shoot her right down now. Yeah, it's in the general. She's just posted it back at me. Yeah, and this is how dumb, right? I mean, I'm not a flat earther, right? But I have to deal with this in presenting evidence that flat earthers have actually got off their ass and done stuff. Yeah, and they're lying about flat earthers. Oh, they haven't done this. They haven't got a model. They haven't got nothing to test. La 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 la. They
How
get
else
given
would we
something.
relate
Hang
to
on.
the fact-
Hang on. They get given something, and then you look at this. Fast forward it a bit, Brandon, after the bit there. But if you look in the top left-hand corner, there's two words there which just blatantly tell you this is the flat Earth model.
Well, we have to simulate.
I'll show you another one where he
That's where I've
compares
got
the two.
Like how you
No,
say
bloody ain't. No,
why
it
does
is
it have
not
to be
a flat
the?
Earth model.
Why can't it be
Right.
a flat Earth model?
No, it's not the flat Earth model.
It's a It's a model over a
No,
flat plane.
no, it's not. No, it's not. It's a computer rendering of stuff.
Yes,
right?
yes.
That might demonstrate a comport to, but nobody should put the title
Yes.
flat Earth model on it. We have not got a flat Earth model. We don't know enough.
It's
comport
not
model.
the definitive at all. No way.
So stick with what
In
it is,
he says
which is lights passing over a plane in a computer rendering, which
It's exactly that.
and allows you to imagine that if the Earth was flat, that it's not completely alien and opposite to the objections that people like Brenda say it's impossible. And that's the point. Somebody's gone to a great load of effort to demonstrate this, but don't hold it up as a flat Earth model. It's a road to derision, isn't it? That hold it up
No, it's
for
a
what it
fair
is.
point,
It's a fantastic bit of work, right? Which takes us on this path. Don't let them fucking hold it.
Well,
up as
you
some
have to
old
model
idol.
two things
That-
on any
that's what
sort of
idiots
model
do.
that you're talking about. You'd have to model the way it looks to the eyes due to perspective, and then you'd have to model the overall layout and the overall shape. So that's at least two things that you'd have to model. This computer model sounds like it's trying to model what happens when objects appear to disappear over a flat surface, probably due to the diffraction limit, if I had to wager a guess. And so it depends on what you're trying to model, over the flat plane.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to go. We got quantum refraction that they haven't even, it's new horizons, guys, when it comes to this faraway light situation. New horizons will be breaking open soon.
Why
I
are
agree with you,
people
Don.
talking so much about models? I mean, it's not reality. Can we talk about reality, please?
Well, people need a way to see what's happening with reality with some sort of picture, some sort of model to get it in their head what's happening, because in their head they can imagine why it would disappear over a flat surface. That would need to be modeled for them.
Just because you make a
don't.
model
The
doesn't
model-
mean it's
you
real.
don't
That's
do any
what's
of that.
happening.
You can just look at reality, and that's fine. That's good enough to give
Okay,
you an
but if
idea
we
of what
can,
reality is.
what is wrong with describing our world based on experimental evidence, the best we know it? I mean, what's wrong with that?
The main thing is knowing how something can disappear over a flat surface when there's no obstruction in the way, and that would have to be modeled.
It may
And
prove
when
us
you
wrong.
say
That's
that
what's
the
wrong
model
with it.
represents reality, then
No.
no.
No. Just describing the world based on the experimental evidence that we have. Don't have to say this is the world. But we can talk about how things work. We can figure out stuff about optics, can't we? We
That's
can
not a
measure
model,
things
is it?
and
No, it's not possible.
No, you can do that. That's perfectly
No,
reasonable.
no, you can't.
But what you can't then do is portray it as a model.
No,
You
no,
can say
absolutely not. We can't
where
tell
what
anything about anything.
Oh, let me give you an example. You could say scientifically you can't have gas pressure without a container.
No,
It
you
doesn't
can't.
allow you to reify the realm, does it? It doesn't allow
You
that.
just
But it
did.
gives you some,
You just did.
it gives you some guiding principles as to where
That's what you
are.
just did. You reified. You
No, I
reified
didn't.
it.
I just said
Well,
it
of
doesn't
course
allow
you did.
you to reify.
Well, what do you mean
Listen.
don't allow me? Who doesn't allow
No,
me?
I said it does not allow you.
What
That
does
knowledge.
not allow me?
Well, listen, right. Stop interrupting and listen. So I'll say it again.
Why stop interrupting? You do it too.
Because you're retarded, and I've said it once, and the reason you're not hearing it is because you keep talking.
No, I'm
You
not
read
hearing
it.
because you never say anything.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
all right.
You just
I'm
use
sure
that
everybody
baby
else
guy.
heard it, so I'll leave you in ignorance because your mouth doesn't stop.
You are literally 4 years old.
I
Troy.
understood every word of
Literally.
that, Adam, just so you're aware.
Well, out of the model come other ways of thinking about other experiments and other thinkings. It leads to a renaissance in thinking where they're like, oh, things disappear over a flat surface now. Now I can explain other things that I had other models for before. It helps jumpstart the thinking and help things be processed in a certain way.
Well,
I
I want to
didn't
hear
say
what
that. A
Adam was
model. I was addressing Brandon's point, which was, can we take certain knowledge? Yeah. And no, I don't think you should then try and put that into a model, because a model is, unless you're going to be very specific in terms of the very simplicity of what you're modeling, you can't then expand that into reality. That's the issue.
You
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Okay, the sun. What? Here's an example.
Brandon, why was I muted twice already?
Here's an example of what I'm talking about, because you're just talking shit, Chikey. Here's an example of what I'm talking about, and you're still doing it. Here's an example of what I'm talking about, Adam.
It's Friday night fight.
Chike,
So-
let him talk. Okay.
So
I
the
have a
sun,
question.
the sun moves away from us, and it appears this high above the horizon. We've noticed this relationship. We figure out why it does that. We can't describe, why it does that or how it does that. That's all I would think of as a model is here's a relationship on why things happen. Here's the cause and effect. Here's the cause for the sun appearing to lower as it moves away from us.
Models are there when there's a lack of knowledge with regard to cause. So they're often helpful to help you see what's happening and therefore postulate a cause. If you had a cause, you don't need a model.
Well, I think you can. I'm thinking of a model as in just a description. That's why I defined it as. Hold on. That's why I defined it as just a description.
Right.
Just a communication device.
I want to ask the genius: how come on flat Earth, sun can rise and set south to east? South to Capricorn. How'd that work on
Jackie,
flat
I've
Earth?
already modeled this. I'll put it in the chat, but you've already seen me model this before with the quadrant.
No, you haven't.
Cardinal points. I'll put it in there again. Hold on.
And I want to know how to distinguish south from north, because we both see the same thing about the south and the north. Southern people should tell you sun is circling above the south.
As you can see in the chat, it depends on how you draw the compass points, Chikey. If you draw north, south, east, west as a bullseye plus sign, then you can have the sun come from any of those quadrants, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, relative to your position. But actual east-west is a circle around the central North Pole. The North Pole is in the center, and south would be a line cutting through the North Pole through your position out toward the south. So it just depends on how you draw the compass points.
Lemon, I would be embarrassed to post this image. Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm not.
You're kind of denoting. You're kind of
I think
denoting.
even your fellow flat
someone
earthers will think it's embarrassing.
Yeah, someone in Australia.
If they come from any of those quadrants, Chikey, any of those quadrants.
According to your diagram, someone in Australia uses a compass and they're pointing away from what we think north is. for their north. That's what your diagram here shows.
Basically, they're drawing their compass points in an arbitrary fashion, pretending like they're straight lines when they're not. East-west is a circle around the central north, and north-south is a line that cuts through your location out toward the southern perimeter.
Hold on, Lemon. Can I just say something real quick, Lemon? Yeah, bio. No, hang on. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just biodual. Don't you have to hold the compass horizontal to the Earth for it to work properly?
No, not for it to work properly. It's probably optimal.
You think they use compasses in Australia and they point off into space, or do you think they point towards the North Pole?
Come on, man.
Give your head a fucking shake.
No, because the magnetic field is a field. It's not a magnetic line in which you have to have it horizontal to the pole, perfectly horizontal. It's a magnetic field of attraction.
If you look at Pharaoh cells, a decidedly linear component to the lines of force based off of looking through a Pharaoh cell anyway. You can see distinct and very marked lines of force, at least in the Pharaoh cell. So it does look like there is somewhat of a linear component to the field, at least somewhat anyway.
Hey, Lemon, let me ask you a question about your paper that you, maybe you can just describe it. So it looks like you've got the 4 cardinal points emanating from somewhere in the, is that the United States? Is that your position or?
Yes, this was pointing to a person. If you zoom in, that's a person centrally located somewhere in North America. It was a Discord user named FD. And basically, they're attempted to draw their compass points north, south, east, west in straight lines going off infinitely into space from their location. That may work for north and south, but east and west, that's not going to work because east-west actually follows the path of the sun as it circles overhead between the tropics, which you can see in that drawing there. The Tropic of Cancer is more toward the center, and the Tropic of Capricorn is more toward the south. And so if you look at true east-west heading, it's a circle, not a straight line.
Yeah,
and so based off of that plus sign, you're making the sun come from potentially any quadrant, depending on how fast it disappears due to the diffraction limit as it goes away over the flat surface. And so I think their problem is they're arbitrarily drawing north, south, east, and west lines like it's a compass needle.
No, I want you to draw southwest as you wish in Australia and draw me the sun path, okay, in Australia.
This graphic illustrates how the sun can circle east to west over the southern tropics, yet appear to be north of due east according to a compass reading. East to west would be read as a straight line of a compass, while the sun would move east-west in a circle overhead that would move in front of and behind the east-west line.
He's not concerned with the east-west line. What Chaiki is talking about is in particular times of the year, if you're in Australia at sunrise, when the sun crests the horizon and you have a compass, you're seeing it at southeast, or at least it's south of east. And then as it's traveling, doing its thing, you'll find that it's going to be north of you, of your position. And then as it sets, when it crests that horizon at sunset, it's going to be at the south of west or southwest. And that's what he's asking
for. Directly overhead? Because wherever it goes directly overhead, that would be the furthest south that it could go with the Tropic of Capricorn.
Right.
And so it could potentially come from any quadrant, depending on how you arbitrarily draw your compass lines. And with it disappearing due to the diffraction limit and eventually merging with the surface, your sun could appear here, there, in any of these quadrants.
That's not an explanation, but you are right about one thing, that when it's at its zenith, sure, it's like the zenith point is it's closest to you in that moment, which is why it would be north of someone in Australia, or at least southern Australia. And then as it's setting, you can see that it's in the southwest. So we see it go from southeast, travel northwest. Now it's going to travel southwest. In what way does your diagram or a diagram of a 2D Earth allow this to happen with the sun?
Yet again, it could come from any of these quadrants, depending on how you arbitrarily draw the lines. And with perspective being a hell of a drug, it could warp the way things look with these curved paths toward the north or toward the south, as we saw in this video here with a Spanish dude passing a hemispheric glass dome over these concentric paths, which represent the stars, but could very easily represent the sun as it circles overhead. I'll put that in the chat as well.
I don't think we'll get a straight answer. I'll just say I'm not satisfied by that response, but we can move on.
Yeah, it is a mystery. And I think it probably has something to do with the way the flat surface was mapped to a globe. There's some kind of, I don't know, transform there that we don't understand yet. But we'll see. We don't have a good map, so I can't give you a good answer.
So this means there's
Finally, when he had the chance to say something, he left.
You weren't listening.
No, he talked today and said nothing for a long time. And I asked him something so he can actually say something. He disappeared.
As you can see toward the south, the star trails warp and bend toward the south. So that could be happening with the sun in its great circle arc of path appearing to bend toward the south, and you would read that as going towards southeast or southwest. So there's a bunch of things that could be happening here with perspective, the arbitrary way that you draw the north, south, east, west lines versus where the sun is actually circling east to west, and the diffraction limit. So
never mind diffraction limit. You tell me I look south, but the sun is actually north. Is that what you're telling me?
North would just be the inner part of the sun's circuit and path. The sun circles overhead. The inner part of that circuit is what we deem the northern hemisphere in general, and the outer part of that path is what we deem the southern hemisphere in general. Where the sun circles straight overhead would tend to be called the equator. So basically, it's based off of the path of the.
Hey, I'm gonna explain to you guys in chat why that troll P Mars keeps showing up and spamming that shit. So in the Discord server, there are like 3 or 4 rules. One is don't threaten anybody's life in any way whatsoever, or even say, hey, you should go off and off yourself. Nothing like that. That's not allowed. Just for, basic decency. And then another one is don't accuse anybody of sex crimes or being, a pedophile. Just basic, fair level decency. And when someone does that, there's zero, what is it called? Zero tolerance, and they get a week ban. And if they want to come back, then they come back in a week. It's just how it has to be, or else fucking ridiculous shit starts happening. So that's what happened to P, and he has somehow interpreted that as I am supporting pedophiles, which doesn't make any sense. It's also against the rules to talk about children in a sexual manner in any way whatsoever in the server. So if I was supporting pedophiles, wouldn't I allow that? Come on, P, use your fucking brain, dude.
Behind you, if you drive there, you'll see it. Doesn't happen anymore.
Anyway, so yeah, we don't have a good map, so these questions are kind of hard to answer. Sorry.
A good map?
The main thing is modeling the perspective, because these are perspective questions. These aren't even map questions. These are perspective questions. So we need to model how things look to the eye due to perspective over a flat plane.
Brandon, isn't every map flat?
But
when you have no model, the end cut off.
Isn't every map? Have you ever seen a map that's not flat?
Yeah, it's got distortion on it.
No, but it see what I think they did is, okay, they mapped the flat map, they transformed it onto a globe, and then the flat maps they give us are transforms of the assumptions they used for the globe back onto a flat map. So it's like
The only
2
reason why
levels of fucked up.
The only reason why a globe is necessary is for them to explain why we can't see beyond a certain distance, and to basically mimic the circle of the sun, moon, and stars overhead and pretend that the dome of the sky is the same as the dome of the land. That's the reason why they prefer a globe, but that's not necessary if we understand how perspective works looking down a hallway with something flatter.
Did you just claim a domed sky?
It appears the sky has some sort of dome-like structure.
Yeah, that'd be fairly accurate. We have the concentric circles. That'd be a good indicator of it.
Well, guys, we got about 20 minutes left. Anybody got anything they want to talk about?
Well,
NASA
when
and
we were talking about the maps or models, I had a question I couldn't get through. If a model does not match reality, should it not be discarded?
You could edit a model if you build a model with a bunch of variables and a bunch of parameters, and a specific part doesn't work but other things do, it would be better to edit that model than to throw it away. But now if nothing on that model explains anything, then yeah, sure, throw it away. Yeah.
Well, okay, for the globe model, there's a lot of things in their model that we do not experience. You can't experience them, and some just violate everything we know about nature.
That's not going to go over easy.
No, of course not. There's two questions you should ask. One is, do you fully understand? And if you think you do, you can proceed to the second one, in which you can articulate the exact reason in which it doesn't work. Have you done both of those steps?
He's the professor, I guess, farming ganja. He's gonna tell you how it is. He's the authority here. He's gonna tell you what you have to do. But go ahead, farming.
But isn't that logical though? That if you're claiming that something doesn't work, it would be best to fully understand it.
It depends on what you're modeling. It depends on whether you're modeling reality and or if you're modeling.
Hold on, let farming get back in here. I know he's a little low.
Okay, so are you claiming that I don't understand what I experience?
We had a conversation earlier with speed and relativity as far as reference frames. So I have a bias in which I don't think that you understand these things. So I do make that assumption, but it's not for nothing. It's based
I don't think you understand shit, Bio.
Would it be fair to say that I've got a bias, Bio-Dual, on that you don't understand relativity? And do I have a fair point?
I think
it's insert yourself to the conversation, Gleam.
No, I mean, we was talking about it just the other day, wasn't we? Or
Right,
just this morning,
everybody
was
has
it?
a bias. Everybody has a bias, yeah.
Well,
No, it was a proven bias. You didn't know about Lorentz transforms.
Yeah, and I admitted I didn't. It's crazy.
Okay, no, that
Insert
was
yourself,
cool.
man. No one cares about your ego.
No. I was going to insert myself because you're telling someone else as if you knew about it.
Oh no! I didn't know about the neo-Lorentz.
Relativity.
No, relativity. But that's separate.
That's the backbone of relativity, though.
Here we go. Gleam has to insert himself and try to big dick energy.
Yes,
everything.
because I'm not
When it comes
having
off as little
you
dick
put
energy,
someone else down
go
for
ahead,
something
Gleam.
you don't know about.
Gleam,
Right,
I
and
mean,
I never claimed
it's
to
a
know.
personality fight, dude. Like, I'll stick up for Bao, dude. This dude will drop his ego. He'll put. I mean, this dude is fair. Y'all should fuck with him more. Are you serious?
No,
you
Don.
can go back to the chat
Fuck
in which
that,
I
Don.
admit the
No,
things
it's
that I
that
don't know.
fake humility where I'm so
Okay,
fucking
fake, yeah.
reasonable and fuck that.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
about
think it's
that,
fake.
Brandon.
But
Ain't none of us
I don't know,
perfect.
Don.
None of us are perfect, but he's somebody that we should all fuck.
Humility isn't common here, so when you see it, it feels weird. You're right.
No,
Not a lot
no.
of
See
people
that
are-
right there? Did you see? Did you hear that, Don? Did you hear
Yeah,
that?
sure. He's throwing jabs. I get it. He's throwing jabs, but you threw a jab at him about the professor. He just rolled it. It's no big deal. You guys throw little jabs, but I was like,
it is Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't
come on.
think
Like,
this motherfucker's not a half clever, dude. He's pretty smooth.
The globe is modeling something else. It's modeling the general land superimposed onto the ball as the explanation to model why we don't see beyond a certain distance. You have to ask yourself what the model is modeling. It's not always reality. Sometimes it's a visual behavior. Like with perspective, we know that the object is not ramping up toward the level of the eyes, but we're modeling the visual behavior, not actual reality. And so they're trying to merge the two with an explanation of the general map schema on top of a ball as an explanation of why we don't see beyond a certain distance. That's what they're trying to model. It doesn't necessarily match reality.
Hey, I got something. You guys remember a couple years ago when they said a micrometeorite hit the ISS and some astronaut put his thumb over it and then stopped the leak so they could repair it?
Right.
Like Chris Hadfield, showed some album cover. It said this is what the picture of the micrometeorite looked like.
Yeah,
Well, now fast forward to 2021, it turns out some woman astronaut had some medical condition, like a clot in her head,
and she was delirious, and she drilled a hole through the ISS.
What?
NASA says that's not exactly what happened, and Cosmos, or the Russian space agency, said they've got proof that she drilled the hole.
That seems reasonable, though. I don't know why. That's interesting, but it does seem reasonable. Can you imagine you're up there fucking around for a year, you're trapped up there? You might drill a hole in the side of that motherfucker. I mean, who even cares? But
Clot in your head?
Well,
Yeah,
that,
check
what are you
it out.
talking about?
There's-
Who cares? That's interesting as fuck. You got a link
is
to that
interesting.
or what?
Yeah, the
It's
Guardian is. I've only been able to find in the Guardian. They've done about 3 articles on it so far because I haven't really seen anything outside of that.
It doesn't
Like,
prove it's like fake, but maybe it was like people were going to start proving that, like, oh, their little bullshit story about a micrometeor is some bullshit. Maybe they didn't think people were going to dig deep enough to debunk that. Then they saw it was getting debunked, so they added this story of no, we got an eyewitness. It was drilled by a person. I mean, either way, it's not proof of anything, but
well,
it does
for me,
seem like
this is why I was thinking with
the
it.
whole medium is fake.
Oh yeah,
Nothing
that
too
too.
much for-
My big takeaway was that you've got Russia and America basically been fighting since World War II, but somehow they get along just fine a couple hundred miles up in the air. Well, it turns out even in this fictitious place that they can pretend to get along, they even don't get along anymore.
No,
They
see,
can't
we only get
even
along
pretend.
during world wars in Antarctica and in space. Makes perfect
Yeah.
sense, right?
Oh,
The places that
so how
don't
do you,
really exist.
so how do you know this was not also fake?
What?
That's
The
what Don
drill?
said.
The hole?
Yeah.
That's what
I
they're
don't know
saying.
what. It's up to you, right? Well,
That's what
how do you know it was not also fake?
the whole
But
thing is fake.
everything, right? Yeah,
Yeah, the whole thing. They're
Yeah,
just changing
everything.
their story now 3 years later.
Each
So
and
when
everything.
people were like, bullshit, no micrometeorite hit the ISS, and then your fathers were told like, oh, you're stupid. Look at this image of the album cover Chris Hadfield posted. Clearly, you're a science denier. And it turned out, yeah, they had to change your story because it was such bullshit.
behavior like that is the number one behavior that keeps me and probably a lot of people interested in the flat earth. Disappointingly enough, that seems to have been the end of the road in a lot of situations. But it is weird that people are so against exploration.
Well,
Not the
the
end of
end
the
of
road
the
at all. I
road
don't know what
should
the
have
fuck you're
been
talking about,
the end.
Don.
Yeah, the end of the road should have been the lack of measurable curvature, not begging the question and then using the assumption of a sphere to calculate how things move in the sky, because that's very easy to do.
Yeah. I'm with you, Elijah. Brandon, I mean, when I say end of the road, you know, as an analogy for
paradox,
like, I thought we were going to be making more maps and models by now, like, and it seems like, you know,
Right.
never
The
mind.
maps we would make would be the same maps that are already in existence. All we need is the information
That's why you call them scale
all we
maps,
need is
right,
the
Lisa?
relationship between one line and another line. You can superimpose that onto any shape you like. Doesn't matter. But the data is accurate because we use it to travel.
Yeah, I think
Why
we got
would
to
we need
know
to make new?
where. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, why would we need to make new maps? The maps we have work, but the
Well,
maps aren't obviously a picture of the whole world. We'll never get something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
but
the thing
remember,
is,
Elijah, these guys built their maps thinking that triangles can have more than 180 degrees line of sight and other fucked up conclusions like that. So, yeah, it might all work as a system because they uniformly have the wrong assumptions. So,
Well,
I think what I hear
fundamentally,
you
you
saying is
can't
if
put
we
a
can
triangle on a
unravel
curve.
those incorrect assumptions, maybe we can engineer it into an actual accurate representation of the ground.
Well, yeah. And
No,
I mean,
doubt it.
I'm sorry
I
for
doubt it. Only reason I doubt it is because they're like no one thinks of using the other system. Now I'm just learning about this, but there's like some other system, and then there's the system that utilizes the sun. So we're never going to come up with any new grid system utilizing the path of the sun. We'd have to like detach from that entirely. And there probably is something like that exists, seeing as that I'm just learning about this. But you're never gonna have a whole representation of the land using this system. I don't think so.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well,
Like, like going
there's
from
two
the
questions to
center
me.
out is what I mean. Going from the center
Either
out. There are other ways to do it.
Mhm. Well, either we need to understand why does the whatever us patterning up to the sky from the ground, why does that make it look like it's a globe when it's not, right? Or are they mistaken or lying about something? Are we assuming that there's
The
which it
sky
seems like they're
doesn't
not.
make it look like a no. The sky doesn't make the ground look like a globe. I'm sorry that you feel that
Look,
way.
if you gotta attack me on this general phrasing that I'm using, I think you can infer
Yeah,
what I
there's no such
mean
thing.
by that.
No, there's
That's
Hey,
what the Glober
No,
side does.
I don't
It's not.
understand what you mean by that either, because I get what you think. Like when you have the celestial sphere, that first of all,
They're
that's not
not.
even
It's
a
not a
real thing.
sphere.
Because
Yeah, it's not a sphere.
the reason that you can go from one zenith to another, right? And it be again, you can't do triangles on curves. That doesn't just include the ground we're standing on, it includes the sky as well. And we use the sky to navigate. I mean, bruh,
Hey, I think
can't
I
do
actually
triangles on curves.
I think I actually figured out what you're talking about, Don. And I think you're referring to the optical drop in these proofs of well, there has to be curvature because things look this way. They're at this angle. I think I figured out why what the incorrect assumptions are. And I'm going to present it to you guys next week. Hold on. I'm going to present it to you guys next week and we can talk about it. But
Right. And I have celestial sphere alternatives that are a little radical from the common use of it, the way people do the sphere around the plate and stuff like this. I have some other slightly mitigating models, but it's like I'm not sure if that's still gonna match reality. I'm pretty sure it's not. You know, they're gonna be like, nope, this is still
Well,
Yeah, why would you want that in the first place?
Why would you do it? Dudes, this is this point about not wanting to model things or something, that's you guys are weird with
Well, no,
that.
using the
No,
biodual.
Sorry.
If you
Well,
use the biodual standard, you can throw the model away as soon as it doesn't match. Like no curve, you're done. That's it. No
I
glow.
don't care whose name or whatever. Listen, like I said, I'm
but
sorry
you're
if I use
saying
it
we
from dead end,
well, maybe.
but there is Globers be acting stupid. Period. That's we know there's some of that, right?
Well,
but
we already
past that,
have
like let's
evidence.
go and
The fact
go
that,
ahead.
the fact that people keep asking for a model, that's the problem. The model is what caused the problem in the first place, not reality.
Whatever, bro.
Well, we already have
Your
evidence.
inability to explain where you live is the problem, not
Yeah,
the
exactly.
model.
It only works on a flat Earth. That's the point. Yeah, in
Only
reality,
then
we always
explain it to
experience
me.
a
Try to
plane. Yeah,
explain it to me.
that's the
Give me
point.
reasons.
Flat Earth already
Yeah, but-
explains everything.
Give me
That's the point.
reasons
You have
that are
nothing.
based in
Yes,
reality.
no, stay
Come
in your
on.
hole. No, stay in your hole. Thanks.
Yeah, Checky,
That's your
that is
rebuttal.
Checky, right?
Wow. You
That
have
is
Stay in
good
your
Checky, right?
argument.
cartoon. Yeah, just stay living in a
Oh, look,
cartoon. You have a
look.
cartoon religion.
No, don't
Congratulations.
try to explain anything.
hey,
Don't try.
hey.
Don't attempt.
Let each other
Respect
talk.
your intelligence, Checky. You should be able to understand flat as your first.
I
understanding.
do.
Look,
And when I tell you, look, when it's flat, it doesn't work. You tell me no. You strawmanning. Then explain to me what is flat. What do you mean by flat?
Okay, the
Going
problem
off.
is
What do you mean by the sun
look,
circling above in the
okay.
north pole at the
Oh,
center? What
Yeah,
do
what
you
we
mean?
experience. Yep.
okay, the problem is, right? Now I'm talking to my brothers here. Of course, we're all brothers, even you, Chucky. But the thing is, we think that we have to imagine a kid is just fucking with you, right? Like the
Right.
kid on Animaniacs. Why? Right? Like
Right.
we don't really have to feel like we have to explain anything to someone who we
I'm with
know.
you, Elijah. But we
If
should,
he
it's
wants,
okay
if
for me
he
to
wants,
want to.
if he wants to be on a globe, he can be on a globe. If he wants to say there's no proof or evidence, well, right there for the people who know that they've concisely laid out points, that tells them, okay, I can't help you. Obviously, you're
Because
mentally
They're
disturbed.
being just like
What
the
else
flat
are you
earthers
gonna
because
do?
there's no proof for evidence, though. We got to go both. Let's be brothers in logic.
Well, that's
Let's
not
be
the same. That's
logical.
not the same because when you guys say you have evidence of begging the question fallacy, it's one fallacy or another. When we say we have proof, like navigating, that's not a fallacy. That's just in a fucking manual, and
Okay,
it's
let's
how
take over the
triangles
science
work.
world then. Let's take it over. Let's go. I mean,
Why?
you're
What does
logic,
science
so
have to do with geometric shapes? This is the problem. People misunderstand how you utilize certain methods. There's measuring for one method, there's science for another method, and then there's everything else in between.
Fine. I'm cool with doing
where
both.
they are.
Let's make a map. Let's measure. Let's make maps. Let's scientifically verify the maps. I mean,
You
what?
can do that, bro. You can do that, bro.
All right, cool, bro.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
world is already
I have
depending
a
on
question
flat
for you
maps
guys
for
though.
thousands of years. No biggie.
I came because I had a question, and maybe one of the Globers can
take the floor.
What is the rate of spin for the moon? I'm not talking about the 27 point whatever days that it rotates on its axis. I'm talking about it rolling like a coin. Is there some math prior to me asking? Somewhere that explains the rate at which the moon is supposed to roll like a quarter on its face through the sky? I could be very ignorant. I've been Googling it. I can't find it. And I know Google is obviously, obviously not. I don't know where to begin looking. Does anyone know? Has anyone heard
I
of any
don't know
math
what
of this
you're
kind of thing?
asking.
I just asked it. Doesn't the moon roll like a coin, the face?
Right. It rises with, let's say,
What's the
lead first
mathematical
up.
rate in the heliocentric model is what I'm asking, not your explanation.
It rises.
What is the mathematical description in the heliocentric model? I don't
What is
want an
mathematics?
explanation because you're going to tell me exactly what I've already observed. I'm not asking you that. Does anyone know?
I do not.
All I know is that I do think that it does roll. I've heard other flat earthers say that it only changes and appears to be that way because of its position in the sky. But I do actually think that it does cartwheel through.
No, two observers will agree.
Whatever it actually does do, here's how you have to think about it. As a matter of fact, should I share my screen or should I do, okay, Brendan, I'll share some images with you and maybe you can post them in or I don't know. How could you share them?
Just put them in general. I'll bring them up.
Okay, let me find general. Because what I'm getting at here is it's got to be about 24 hours, 360, and I want to see that equated for in the model prior to me asking, because that's what I witnessed when I did my observation. The reason, I'm an avid watcher of the moon, but for whatever reason, I've never felt the need to catch it right when it crests the horizon. And that's exactly what I did. It's always red, by the way, when you can catch it on a clear night, which is interesting. But what I didn't know is that after I saw it that night, a couple of nights ago at 10 o'clock, I'm going to watch it again tonight. Actually, I think I'll go live for anybody who's interested. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I used the opportunity to point it out to a couple of people on the walkway. They were really interested because they never saw a red moon like that before. And okay, where's General? What? Okay, I see General. Now what blew my mind was in the morning because I got up real early and I wasn't even thinking about the moon at all. I'm just going about my day, and I'm like, oh, there's the moon. It's still up. What? I thought it would have been. Yeah. Oh, I guess it is early. It wasn't that many hours. Fine, it's still in the sky. And then I was like, the orientation, though. What? I need that equated for in the heliocentric model, because if the moon is going west because I'm turning towards it, going east, it's not a perspective issue. So it has to be in the math. It has to be a rotation. It's not a perspective issue. And I'm gonna show you what I mean right now.
I asked you that, I think, like a year ago. How do you explain it?
So you see that?
Yeah, 2 pictures.
Yeah.
They're
That's the
pretty
moon. That's the moon the next morning.
Okay.
So I saw it that night, went to sleep, woke up, that was the moon in the morning. So that's how many. So it went from basically 6:30 or 6 o'clock to, what is that, 11 o'clock? And I'm trying to figure out how that's equated for.
I don't see a rate of rolling in any of these sites. There might be one somewhere, but I don't see it. They talk about its orbit,
They don't
27 days.
understand. Yeah,
That's it.
it does turn. Yeah, it turns. I don't know what the term is, Elijah, but I thought Glovers knew that it turns.
There's a couple
It
of people
should,
calling it
right? It should be
libation.
somewhere.
Let me see. They're calling it shit. I just had it. Lunar libration. Of course, that's coming from Brenda.
No, I don't. That's not a great one. Not what Elijah talked about.
Lunar libration and lunar astronomy. Libration is the. Oh no. See, because I saw a video of this too. The moon actually also wobbles on its axis, which is a really weird thing to watch. I've seen some astronomers on I forget who shared it with. I think it was 10th Man, because he was trying to figure out what I was talking about, and he sent me this actually, and I was like, no, this isn't it, but this is interesting. But I can't find anything on what I'm asking. It has to be equated for in the model, seeing is that it's not a perspective issue. So that's a mechanical issue that should be worked out in the maths, right?
I'm still not sure what observation you're referring to be honest.
The one that I just posted. What do you mean, bro?
The moon
Yeah, but what
turns
about
like a
what in these
face on the
pictures?
wall.
What is the unexplained phenomena that you're talking about?
Okay, okay. Watch. Listen to my voice and look at the. So are you looking at them?
Looking at the daytime one.
No, look at the nighttime one, right?
Okay.
Now imagine that you're on the Earth spinning towards that moon. At what point is it going to end up in the orientation on the bottom?
That's the next morning then, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the only explanation I've heard is that it is perspective because we are rotating.
Nope.
That it. I know that the answer is nope, dude. I'm just saying. I've noticed the exact same phenomenon, and I've never been satisfied with the.
They only say it's perspective because they're talking about 2 different locations. This is just me. That's different.
Are you talking about because the dark half of the moon is on top here and it's on bottom
Okay,
here?
Brandon. Okay, Brandon.
Yes.
So yeah. So listen, if you go out tonight, just say if you go out tonight and you see the moon, and the terminator line of the moon is at the 9 o'clock position. Let's just say, okay, and then in the morning you wake up and you get up in the morning and you look up at the moon and the terminator line is now at the 3 o'clock position. Okay, it's rotated.
Yeah. Here I can draw a diagram, I think.
But it's only circling above Earth. How did he change its rotation?
What do you mean change its
Hey.
rotation? I don't think it has to.
And no
That's what I'm
two
asking.
observers
That's
will
what I'm
agree.
asking.
No two
But that's-
observer. He look at the morning, I look at the night, I'll tell him the face is down, he'll say no, the face is up.
No, but that's a different person, possibly at a different location, which is where all that confusion comes from. This happened
Yeah, we're
for
not talking
me
about right.
in one location.
Yeah, we're not talking about two different geographical locations, Chai.
Listen closely. If the moon is going in a circle above you, we will both see it orient the same.
You don't get it, Chike.
Yeah.
Not only
I
has
do. You
someone
don't get
been
it.
Robert,
You don't get it.
It's not going in a circle, Chike. Not for
Yeah.
you. For you, I'm rolling toward it. So if I see it, if it rolls from there, and then it ends up somewhere southwest of me, and I'm watching it the entire time, what kind of mechanical? I need to know how this is accounted for because it's not a perspective issue. I can't.
Well,
And the reason I'm saying that is how I'm detailing it. If I'm on a sphere that's rotating towards the moon, right, towards the east, at what point would I see the image on the bottom? If it was just perspective, I don't. It can't be that. So it has to be something else. And I'm simply asking if that's accounted for in the heliocentric model. It has to be. I mean, this is too easy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
good.
easy. So the moon is circling around us, and if you placed your camera,
No, it's not.
and
No,
if
it's
you placed
not.
your camera
No, it's
and
not.
track,
Not in your
listen
model. Stop
carefully.
saying that. Stop saying
In
that.
our
It's not
model,
doing
it's
that in your
circling
model.
in what?
No,
It is.
from the perspective of the observer,
The
not in
moon
some
is
in the
in the
from the
perspective of the
perspective of
observer. The
me.
moon circles it.
No,
The
from the
observer
perspective
is
of
at the
me.
center. Yes.
From the perspective of me, I'm rolling towards it. It's going to go above my head and then back towards the horizon behind me.
Now
That's what I see.
I'm telling you, it's doing a circle around you. If you
So
place
you're a flat
yourself
earther.
at the center of
Congratulations.
the circle
Chike,
and
just
keep
show us where the eye
tracking
level is.
and keep tracking the moon, you will see it did not move at all.
So you're a flat
It was
earther.
at the same
Congratulations.
orientation all the time. If you put a
So you're a flat
telescope
earther.
from morning
Congratulations.
to evening, the moon will not change its orientation in the telescope, in the image. It
I
will
don't know
be
what
the same
I don't know what he's
all
talking about.
Neither does he,
day
Elijah.
long.
Why did they try to make shit up? Like
If you track the moon
talking
with
to
an
someone who's
equatorial
I know that I
mouse,
I
it
know that
will
I hit
not
you guys.
change its
I know that I hit you
orientation.
guys
Get
with
it?
unconventional arguments that
Elijah,
all
this
of
is
the
the
flat
same.
earthers don't
Elijah,
roll
you
with.
asked a
I know
question,
that I
so
have
it's
my
good
own
to
thinking
listen to
brain.
the answer.
Okay,
You're
okay,
not
Chike,
addressing
Chike,
anything
we
that I'm
heard you.
saying.
I
That's
have.
boring.
We heard you,
It's
Chike. We
boring.
heard you. Elijah, this is exactly what I told you earlier. That's the same answer as I gave before that I heard from ballers before. But anyway, listen, let me ask you a question to try to do this if you can, since you're looking at the moon so much, okay? So I've thought about this before. I didn't think about it till a couple of days ago, but I haven't had a ball to do this with. The Terminator line is at the bottom of the moon right now. So when the moon comes up in the sky for us, it's at the bottom. It's not a vertical Terminator line. It's a horizontal Terminator line. So tomorrow morning, if you can, when the moon is still up, if the sun gets up as well, put a ball in front of the moon, line it up, and take two shots. One, you can do a contrast in the moon's in focus and the ball's in focus. The ball is my prediction in this orientation. The ball will not have the Terminator line at all because it's going to be fully in the sun. So that's not going to jive with their explanation, because all of the other times that we've seen them do this demonstration with the ball lining up with the moon with the Terminator line, it's when the Terminator line is vertical. I've never seen the Terminator line.
I get what you're saying, because they always do it when the sun is in front, and so the sun is like setting, and that's when they say, "Look at the shadow." Then, but well, either way, that's irrelevant. Actually, what you're saying about the Terminator position, yeah, that is kind of interesting. I'll do that because I'm gonna go out there tonight. That's y'all willing that the sky is clear, because it was just a thunderstorm here in New York City.
Yeah, it's pretty dark down here at DC too right now.
Anyway, I don't want any forced
right.
answers that I know don't make sense to me. Just don't force
Hey,
it, please.
hey, let me give it a try here, Elijah. Though. All right. So, can you see my screen? Let's see if this is makes any
One
sense.
second, let me open it up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is you. You're underneath. So this is the moon circuit above you. So think of this as a God's view, looking down at you standing on the ground, right? And you're going to be looking up at the underside of this as it's circling around. All right. You're going to look at this one. And because of perspective, you're going to see the full part appear to be bottom towards the earth, but really it's on a perspective slant, right? So this is
That's a little bit of
the
a
part that's missing is looking sorry?
that's a little bit of a perspective switcheroony, because right there is exactly what Chaiki outlined. That's a obviously it's a 2D circle, but in my estimation, the way that it's rotating what would that on a horizontal plane.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
makes
That's what I'm
sense.
talking about is this is I'm telling you
That
out of
makes
flat
sense.
earth. Well, let me finish.
Yeah, no,
Let me
no.
finish.
Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So you're looking at it. It's like that. So it's going to continue above you. See, it's the same orientation. It's just making a circle around you, and it's going to get over here. You're going to look at it, and it's going to be on the slant where the bottom is gone and the top is full, and it's going to look like that portion is towards the bottom of the earth. But it's just a trick of perspective. It's just moving in the same orientation around you generally, except for the libration or whatever, and you're just viewing it from two different sides. It makes perfect sense on a flat earth.
Exactly. I've known for a while, because I've just by watching it from like, say, I've seen it maybe 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then I've seen a slight rotation, and I'm like, oh, that's just exactly what you're detailing. That's what I thought. I just never seen it so obvious, and then I never thought, well, let me imagine let me imagine the other, let me imagine what we actually think, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Made zero sense to me. Zero.
Yeah, I imagine it did, Chaiki. So which piece of it didn't make any sense to you, Chaiki? I'll help you understand it.
You take some circle, put it above you, and tell me that you see anything on this pixel, on this circle, oriented differently, no matter
Well,
where the
Chaiki,
circle is. Behind you,
it's a
close to
really
you, far to
big
you.
circle. A really
Huge
big circle.
A really
And
big
it's really far away, so you gotta remember, keep that in mind, right? It's not gonna look like a circle.
How
All right?
the distance going to create any angles?
I'll
I don't
tell
get
you,
it.
because it's going to change your perspective. Remember, in this model, the moon is closer. So it is impacted by perspective. So this moon during the night is going to look like it's rising up from the horizon, just like everything does, with the full bottom towards the ground. And then it's going to circle around in the same general orientation, and it's going to descend down. It's in the same orientation relative to you right here. See, it maintained its orientation relative to the center, and it's going to look like it descends into the ground with the missing part bottom down due to perspective. It's just perspective.
I don't know why you bring perspective. Perspective should change its size.
No. See, don't change the fucking subject. We're talking about how
You
it
were
looks
talking
and
about
the
perspective.
orientation of it. We're not talking about the fucking size.
I didn't bring perspective. You did.
Do you understand what I'm saying now?
No, zero.
You are full of shit, Chaiki.
Maybe I am, but I don't understand.
Yes, you are. I know you are. I know you understand what I just
What you
said.
say doesn't match reality.
So just
Makes
to
sense in
expose,
your
so just
head,
to expose
but
him to the audience, just to expose him to the audience and his lack of flexibility.
go ahead.
So when I say from my perspective, it looks like the cars are going right, but from your perspective, it looks like the cars are going the other way. That has nothing to do with size, does it, Chikey?
We're talking about your perspective only. In your perspective, the
Yeah,
towers are
you're
going
as
up
dumb as
and
a bag of
sometimes they're
nails.
going down when in fact they didn't change elevation at all.
Dumb
You've
as
been
a
exposed.
sack of hammers, Chikey. You're dumb as a sack of hammers.
Anyway,
Could you
I
imagine ending
hope
it
that
this
helped,
guy?
Elijah. That is an interesting observation. I really like that.
Ask
Thank you,
someone
Brandon.
with modeling skills to model it on a 3D modeling software, and then we'll see if
It
you're
should have
right
been
or
done
wrong.
already.
The
Yeah,
modeling
done already.
software is
I'm
only
going to
as
do
good
it.
as the assumptions of the modeler, Chikey.
Sure. Assume what you want. Just model it on 3D modeling software.
Just
See
remember,
what
I
you
said
know.
it should have been done already. I have no idea why I'm not saying it isn't. I'm still looking. I came here to ask Chikey and any other people that's nobody knows. So we're still on the hunt for this thing. If it doesn't turn up, oh boy, it's just yet another thing that you guys are gonna have to ignore.
All right, guys, I'm going to close out the YouTube show. I do want to thank the panel for joining tonight, Friday Night Fights. Good night. Good conversation. We touched on a lot of topics. I appreciate you guys being in here. And we'll be back on Monday.
Got
I
one
do
thing to
have
say,
some
Brandon.
stuff to share. Sorry, Rob?
Brandon, I got one thing to say.
Well, I'm going to get to that part where you can. You're first,
Okay.
all right? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Be back Monday. I do have some stuff to share with you that I've been working on. I was preparing it for a date with a date. Oh my God, a debate with Ranty or Ruhif, but neither of them are able or want to debate right now, which is fine.
Yeah, they're cowards.
But do you have the prediction?
I didn't say it. Yeah, the prediction. I'll be finishing the prediction up. I think Ranty's going to go take his picture tomorrow or Sunday. So I'm gonna be sending that out in the morning, hopefully, and then I have some things to share with you guys regarding why it appears as if there's optical drop and what the assumptions are that are incorrect that led people to think they lived on a giant ball. I think you're going to find it very interesting. I'm hoping Data will join us next week, and Gleam, you too. But I do want to share this stuff with you guys, and you guys can criticize it, and we can just talk about it. But thanks again. Anybody who didn't get to speak much during the show and has something they want to say, feel free to now. We'll start off with Rob.
Level is horizontal. Horizontal is a straight line. Thank you, Brandon.
Well said. Thanks, Rob.
Hey, Brandon, I just wanted to say that since now we know that Israel is not a signatory to the Antarctic Treaty, maybe Chike could go ahead and lead the expedition down there to prove that it is what they say it is.
Get me a sailboat and
Yeah, they might need to know where eye level is.
don't you worry, just get me a boat and supplies. We'll do it.
All right. GoFundMe coming up, Chikey.
Spoiler alert. It's demonic possession is what causes men to come up with evolution ball religions, Brandon.
Makes sense.
Jesus,
Fair enough.
yeah, as Jesus tells us, if he tells us of earthly things that we believe not, how should he tell us of heavenly things? Every single time a Glover wants to talk about the sun, moon, and stars, well, there's a verse for them, and God turned and gave them up to worship the hosts of heaven, so they can't comprehend reality. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks, XO. Anybody else? All right, guys. I'll be recording probably all night, just so you know. And I'll be in here to mod off and on. There's a couple other mods here. So thanks again, guys. I'll be back. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight and got something out of it. Thank you, Gadget Inspector says, great show. Thank you very much, Gadget. And I know George was pissing you guys off out there, and he probably would have been muted or kicked about 20 times. I didn't see anything too bad. He was talking shit, but we all talk a lot of shit. If it crossed the line, just let me know. Anyway, all right. We'll see you on Monday. Like I said, I do have some cool stuff to share with you next week, and we'll see where that goes. Oh shit! Hey Smurfer, you had a message. Where is it? Let me see here. Okay, I see it. It's not too late. I just saw that you said it was too late. Can I show it? All right, I'll show it. I assume I can show it. Here we go. That's pretty funny. Nice Photoshop work. I like that. Is that the logo for Ranty's Panties? Did you find a supplier yet? We got to find a supplier. If anybody knows a custom underwear supplier, please let us know. This monkey that is totally not Ranty is obviously the logo, the mascot for Ranty's Panties. Hell yeah. I like it. I like the direction we're headed with this, Smurfer. Nice work. All right, guys. I'm out. Have a good night. Talk to y'all later. Have a good weekend. Bye.